Welcome to episode 92 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. I am your host, Triple J. Joining me is my co-host, Dr. Games 101.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yo, yo, yo.
And tonight we do what we do every episode, and that's talk about the latest news in gaming and whatever else happens to come up.
Indeed.
So, Dr. Games 101, you ready to start? You ready to start tonight?
Oh, yes, definitely indeed.
Okay, let's start with the first story. Lady Gaga not only figures out what Fortnite is, but she's also coming to the game. The actress and pop star teases her audition later this week. A star is meant to be born in Fortnite. Actress and pop icon Lady Gaga has teased her audition to Fortnite Festival on February 22nd, years after asking what the game was on social media and rumors swirling about her appearing in the massively popular title. Update. We now have more details on Lady Gaga coming to Fortnite. On X, formerly known as Twitter, Lady Gaga hilariously riffed on one of the posts from over 4 years ago to make her Fortnite debut official. In October 2019, she asked, "What's a Fortnite?" And today, the musician corrected herself with Fortnite and a teaser image of her skin in Fortnite Festival. Another amusing part of the 2019 post is a popular streamer, Ninja, answering her Fortnite question, to which Gaga replied, "Who are you?" In August of 2022, a Fortnite leak pointed to a Lady Gaga collaboration following in the footsteps of Ariana Grande and Travis Scott showing up in the Battle Royale title. However, Gaga's official introduction will seemingly happen in Fortnite Festival, a rhythm game mode made by rock band developer Harmonic. The weekend has been the focus of Season 1 for Fortnite Festival, with his latest popular music video even premiering in the game. Fortnite is clearly no stranger to big-time crossovers. For example, there's currently a TMNT Cowabunga event happening in the game, with Leonardo's katanas and Raphael Sai available as weapons. However, there is one collaboration that seemingly won't happen. Doctor Who boss Russell T. Davies recently said that any talks of a crossover with Fortnite is a complete myth. So, what do you think of Lady Gaga being the next first celebrity to get involved in Fortnite?
Rah, rah, oh, my. Da, 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 da. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I'm sorry, I'm stuck in Lady Gaga's song. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see Lady Gaga in Fortnite after all these years, you know. She hasn't been part of the main. She's part of the mainstream as always, but she hasn't been making as much of a not impact, but like that's as much songs for the last like 5 years now. Last time I checked, so she's gonna get the proceeds for this matter from this Fortnite deal. So more power to her, right? You know.
Well, I mean, it's just like when they announced that Eminem was coming to Fortnite. It's like, who cares? I mean, when was the last time Lady Gaga was relevant?
Like 10 years ago at most.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like the last time Soldier Boy was relevant before his console controversy. We won't talk about that.
Yeah, it's console fiascos twice in a row. He did.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like again. I mean, I get it. I mean, Ninja Turtles coming to Fortnite is cool, but it sucks that it's only a couple of the Turtles' weapons. But really, Lady Gaga, when I saw the headline, I was like, who's going to care about this? Who could possibly care about this?
Maybe some 40-year-old woman from high school back in the day. Well, Lady Gaga was relevant. That's about it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the thing is, if someone's 40 years old today, they're not going to be playing Fortnite.
Yeah, there are some female gamers. I bet they play Fortnite for the sake of the celebrities, like what's her name, Princess Leia of Star Wars, and Carrie Fisher and all. So it's like whatever, right? You know.
You know what? Bring in Carrie Fisher. Why not? I mean, I know she's passed away, but I'm sure you can get her to appear too. I mean, it's just. But the thing is, again, I look at it and I'm like, here's someone who hasn't had relevancy for 10 years at least, and I don't listen to Lady Gaga's music, so I can't. So I really don't know the last time she was relevant.
Just that one song I tried tried to sing. That's about it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if you're a Lady Gaga fan and you play Fortnite, all five of you, and that's
Generous.
being generous. Yeah, Lady Gaga will be available in is available in Fortnite actually now, a couple days ago.
That's pretty awesome right there. See, like the guy got Fortnite. Should we had doing all those dances and shit like that after winning the battle royale and shit? That'd be pretty cool. And songs starts to play in the background at the same time. That'd be cool.
Can I get someone with more maturity as a podcast partner?
Hey, you never know, right? If they actually put the songs in every time you win the battle royale, number one victory, you know.
Yeah, well, honestly, those Fortnite dances are well. Again, I'm not the audience for Fortnite, so
Yeah, Fortnite's not my main game, obviously, a battle royale game is, but if I really want to, I can play Lady Gaga for a few minutes, see how it is. But that might cost like how many V-Bucks right there for that Lady Gaga skin.
yeah, exactly. Just like the M&M skins that were available in Fortnite.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Um,
It's
and, and the thing is, since we talked about that, look, I mean, ever since M&M's come to Fortnite, it's done absolutely nothing.
pretty much.
I mean, it's like he showed up and no one cared, and no one cared since.
Yeah, well, who else gonna come to Fortnite? Katy Perry, uh, perhaps 3LW or a R&B group out there like Trey Lawrence from the 1990s. I mean, are we gonna go?
Well, boys to men.
Yeah, Boys to Men. Yeah, ABC, BB. Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, what would be awesome is if Slipknot came to Fortnite.
Oh, that would definitely bring in us millennials to play that game for a few minutes at a time. Like,
Yeah,
here
but
we go,
then
sad. Here we go,
yeah,
sad.
Slipknot's music, and you could play as the guys from Slipknot. But then too many kids would probably have nightmares.
Yeah, and then they got to sue fucking Slipknot for all those nightmares.
Anyway, ready to move on?
Despise, despise. Hey, shoot people out. Listen to that song. Don't care. Don't da 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 da.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine a kid listening to "People Equal Shit" or "Wait and Bleed" or "My Plague."
Vermilion Part 1 and 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with Slipknot's two first CDs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm obviously they're retired, I bet, or they just do underground shows. That's about it.
okay,
Yeah.
well,
I'm,
ready to move on?
yeah, I'm ready to go off some Slipknot. You know, I'll play that at some point
Okay.
tonight in my spare time, you know.
All right. Next, Xbox strategy doesn't hinge on people moving all digital, says Phil Spencer. Don't worry, physical media isn't going away yet. Physical media is slowly going the way of the dodo, but it appears that Xbox isn't giving up on it just yet, despite having a diskless console. In an interview with GameFile, Xbox boss Phil Spencer shared his thoughts on physical media by explaining that Xbox is supportive of physical media, but we don't have a need to drive that disproportionate to customer demand. We ship games physically and digitally, and we're really just following what the customers are doing. And I think our job in running Xbox is to deliver on the things that a majority of the customers want. And right now, a majority of our customers are buying games digitally. Spencer then explained that gaming consoles themselves have kind of become the last consumer electronic device that has a drive. And this is a real issue just in terms of the numbers of manufacturers that are actually building drives and the cost associated with those. And when you think about cogs that were going to go part in a console, and as you have fewer supplies and fewer buyers, the cost of the drive does have an impact. Spencer reassured fans of physical media that their strategy does not hinge on people moving all digital. This is especially notable because it was revealed that Xbox is working on a digital-only mid-gen Xbox Series X late last year. For more Xbox news, check out our story on how Halo devs pitched multiple games that never got made. So, do you believe Phil Spencer that they're not going all digital yet?
Of course not. People still need to use this sometimes because there are some places in the United States that still don't have full internet access, like Montana or the Dakotas and all, especially out in the Midwest where all the cornfields are like Arkansas and things of the matter. So it's kind of like what to do with those people. Like you can't just like bar them from all digital services just yet. So
And that's just the U.S. And man, think about like overseas, like in Europe or South America.
Africa region altogether, like some parts of Africa don't have actual internet. So
Yes, I mean, what do you do? What do those people do? So, I mean, go on.
I want to say though that when it comes to Africa, Southeast Asia, the those areas like Vietnam, Vietnamese people and stuff like that, pretty much anyone that's like has no dictatorship no whatsoever, even though they're free as any democratic state in today's world, it's like a lot more progress to take care of in their country first before having internet. So, given more than another 25, 30 years from now, everyone will be on par with the all digital access or all digital systems. Right now, it's not the good time, and they gotta make sure to have content on their disc as well for the physical media. So they can't just put they give you like Destiny 2 that I bought the other month, and I see it's only like 10 megabytes on the fucking disc. That's ridiculous right
Right,
there. Because not everyone's
and
gonna buy that.
not to mention also, I'm not even thinking about games. I was thinking about DVDs. Again, I'm probably in the minority on this, but I still got DVDs. I still the store near me still sells DVDs. I buy them. Well, I was buying them when I had a job, when I had steady income. Um, but they got more that I'm going to buy when I do have a steady paycheck again. Um, so it's like how do it's like if DVD players go, you're going to have to get a PS2 or a PS3 or a 360 or something that can play these discs. And 360s and PS3s or I don't know about the PS2. These consoles aren't as cheap as you would think, unless you want to take a chance on one that might be already not in no work, not working condition that's not working.
Oh yeah.
I hated that my laptop doesn't have a disk drive, but you know, um, I dealt with it because I figure, I got a DVD player, I got a PS2, PS3, had a 360. I could talk about that at a later time. Um, and my Xbox One. And the thing is, you say, well, that's like four things. Okay, my DVD player remote doesn't work. I don't know if like the batteries were in there too long and it corroded it or something, but the remote just doesn't respond. Um, and my Xbox One is really picky with what DVDs it plays. And like I said, my 360 is dead. So I got PS2 and PS3 to play DVDs right now.
Mm-hmm. And there's some people too that still buy 4K disc stuff for their certain systems as well too, especially the 4K players and Blu-ray players, things that matter, because they can't afford to go to download from the Xbox store or any store on their interface of their TVs to buy them in 4K. So
Right.
that's why
Yeah,
Walmart.
4K. Yeah. I have the Xbox One just because I have the Resident Evil Mila Jovovich collection on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason. But like, DVDs for most of them they've been playing. But like, I got Supernatural season 5, and I don't know if it's because the discs have a few scratches on them or what. Because like I said, I tried to get season 5 as cheap as I could,
Right.
and the Xbox One just wouldn't read them.
Mm-hmm.
My PS2 and PS3 had no problem, but
You also got to worry too that over the next couple more decades, people will experience disc rot on some of their games as well as their entertainment outlets like that of DVD movies, DVD TV shows, even Xbox 360, Xbox original. So
yeah, that could also be it. So I mean, I would hope you weren't selling it if you had experienced disc rot. When I find a game that is on that when my Resident Evil 7 game stopped working, I couldn't fix it, so I had to throw it out. I kept the case just in case I ever get Resident Evil 7 again. Um, but yeah, so it's just maybe it it's just like, maybe I'm looking too much into this because the PS2s are pretty cheap. I think.
Well,
I
yeah,
think you get.
a used copy PS2 is pretty cheap.
Yeah, of course. I'm not talking about brand new one. I'm talking about just the system itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's that is what it is. Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I just want to say too that speaking on all digital consoles, Phil Spencer, not person himself, but just a mixture of Xbox news or anything Xbox related that I see on the internet, especially on YouTube with different users and all. They showed a system for the next couple of years or so from now that's going to be released to the public called, not sure what the exact Xbox system will be called, but that particular Xbox system will be all digital. So there's going to
Yeah,
be no disc, no nothing. So
that's
if
that's why they were calling it a discless Xbox Series X.
yeah, and it's going to come out within the next couple of years at the least. Last time I checked. So
Yeah,
so
yeah. So
by then people will still not be ready for it. But like I said, with next 10, 20 years, if they implement more infrastructure to the developed nations, at least like Japan, United States, um, Europe, or at least most of Europe, everything should be fine with the population maintain that structure. Because there's
well,
games like
it's
yes.
I have to disagree with you there. I think we were going that way, but I think like when the whole snafu with Sony happened, with Sony deleting Discovery shows that were purchased, I think people were like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" I didn't sign up for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe the pendulum is turning. Maybe it's starting to swing back the other way between physical and digital, um, slowly. But yeah, I think so I don't think people, like you said, people are not going to be ready. Well, if you're not ready for it, speak with your wallet.
Yeah,
That's how we get these companies to listen. Ready to move on, or
I'm ready to move on.
all right? Next, 16 WrestleMania matches revealed for WWE 2K's 24 Showcase of the Immortals mode. From Savage Steamboat to Reigns Rhodes, this new mode will retell the history of the annual event. The annual WWE 2K Showcase mode has highlighted individual wrestlers in the past, beginning with Rey Mysterio in 2K22 and then following with John Cena last year. For WWE 2K24, however, the attention shifts to WrestleMania, the biggest show on the WWE calendar, as 2K Sports has released first details on WWE 2K24's Showcase of the Immortals mode. This year's showcase will feature 21 matches spanning all 5 decades of WrestleMania, from the late 1980s to last year's two-day event in Los Angeles. As with previous years, players will unlock new matches by completing each individual match with extra unlocks for completing certain challenges. The mode will also feature instant transitions from its in-game action to real-life footage of the match being played using the game's slingshot technology. Okay, I have to stop right there. I've seen how that worked with John Cena's. I hate that.
Really.
That is so jarring. That is so distracting. Um, I hate that they transition from game to real life back to game. Why?
Mm.
I don't know anyone that likes that. I mean, I could never play it because it's so distracting.
How is it distracted with John
Well,
Cena?
it's not distracting. That was the wrong word. It's jarring.
Okay.
That's what I should have said. Anyway, 2K has revealed 16 of the 21 matches players will experience in their showcase of the Immortals ones, which feature members of the WWE 2K24 roster like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Fiend Bray Wyatt, Rhea Ripley, and more. One notable exception from the revealed list is Brock Lesnar, who has recently been removed from the game's cover art due to his alleged connections with the Vince McMahon lawsuit.
Uh-oh.
The list of matches for the showcase revealed by 2K is below. So these are the matches confirmed for the showcase mode this year. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with George the Animal Steel versus Macho Man Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth from WrestleMania 3. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant with Bobby the Brain Heenan from WrestleMania 3. Ravishing Rick Rude with Bobby the Brain Heenan versus The Ultimate Warrior from WrestleMania 5. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Rowdy Roddy Piper from WrestleMania 7. Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 10. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock from WrestleMania X7.
Nice.
Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 20. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton from WrestleMania 31. Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania 35.
Ooh.
The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus John Cena in a Firefly Funhouse match from WrestleMania 36. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens from WrestleMania 38. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania 39. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 39. And Bianca Belair versus Asuka from WrestleMania 39. WWE 2K24 launches March 8th for Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and PC. Those who pre-ordered the deluxe or 40 years of WrestleMania editions of the game can access the game 3 days early on March 5th. So there are some comments, so let's look at the comments. Christine K goes, I'll wait for next year's showcase. Vince McMahon versus Janelle Grant. That's insensitive.
Wow.
And Pavel Buer goes, Bret Hart wrestled Roddy Piper in WrestleMania 8, not 7. Did they really say 7?
Oh.
Let me check that. Yeah, they said 7. Okay. Well, okay. So what do you think of this? Does this make you interested in the game?
Well, I mean, I used to be a big wrestler fan during the Attitude Era and the WCW years when I was watching WCW a lot. But after 2000, and I would say about 5, 6, or 7, that's when I kind of stopped watching constantly. After around that time, so I was still in college at the time. So by the time I finished college or dropped out of college for a while, and it got me since like 2007. I stopped watching altogether after the Boogeyman was taking over WWE for a while. That's why I kind of like wrestling at the time, at the last times ever, and then after that, it's like once in a blue moon I'll watch wrestling. So I can't really say I'm excited for these showcase matches, want to call them, because some of them I did see, like WrestleMania 17 on DVD of Shawn Michaels. That's when I saw Steve Austin with The Rock and all. Because I actually had a copy of the DVD for a few years, but I got lost while I was moving from Valley Stream to back in my New York City and all. So it sucks. That's good collector's items too. And I hear
I mean, the thing is, like, just to give an example though, like one option would be like one objective might be Stone Cold to hit The Rock with the ring bell. So you might have to pick up the bell. Then when you hit The Rock with it, then it might trigger a cutscene. And it was fine when they first did this because it was all the cutscenes were in game,
right.
But to transition from game to live footage back to the game, it's not needed.
Well, they're trying to instill the younger audience to see what's like on TV back in the day in video game form.
Yeah, but honestly, it's not needed. I mean, the first time they did the showcase mode, or second time they did it, was like WWE 2K15 when they had Best Friends, Better Enemies, where it was Shawn Michaels versus Triple H from 2002 to 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like when Triple H wins the Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, like you saw in game Randy Orton and Ric Flair come out and like pick up Triple H and get him to his feet and like congratulate him. It's like that was fine, but this jarring transition of, because the thing is, like, how it will happen now is like Stone Cold, like, say, take my example from WrestleMania 17. Like Stone Cold will hit The Rock with the ring bell. The game will like freeze for a second, then go to live footage. Then you're watching live footage for 2 or 3 minutes. Then it goes back to the game. It's still going. The cutscene's still going on in the game, and then all of a sudden drops control back to you. It's not needed, and honestly, it's like, thanks, but no thanks. I mean, the showcase mode sounds cool, but also It's not what we were getting with WWE 2K14. When WWE 2K14 did 30 years of WrestleMania, we got all 29 WrestleMania arenas along with current day arenas at the time. So, now that I hear that there's only going to be 21 matches, so all 39 WrestleMania arenas going to be in the game.
Yeah, there's also a lot of copyright claims as well too with the WWE because of the lawsuits they were having with these wrestlers and all. Like Brock Lesnar, for example. Not sure about the recent Vince McMahon scandal, but back in the 2000s when Brock left, like around 2003, 2004, give or take, after that match.
04, yeah.
Or so it was somewhere around. It was somewhere WrestleMania 20 where Vince McMahon. Brock wanted to go back to the NFL. That's what's going on back then. So there's a conflict with NFL and WWE where they were trying to claim who has what with what contract with what copyright on what product of Brock Lesnar. What I hear. So
yeah, I heard something about that. I heard that like when Brock Lesnar wanted to leave WWE, they wanted to give him like a 10-year non-compete, and it's like the guy's got to be able to make a living. I mean, so like I think they had to make a deal like they could like. Brock could go anywhere he wanted, but if he did go anywhere in professional wrestling, he had to give WWE first chance to sign him.
Right.
But I did hear that when Brock left, they wanted to give him a 10-year non-compete. It's like, what, the guy's supposed to sit at home for 10 years?
Yeah, that's a long ass time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not 3 months, it's 10 years. I mean, that's spiteful right there.
Unless he want to work for McDonald's for 10 years.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to do that. So
flip fries, like, yo, what you want, kid? I want you some fries to F5. That'd be cool to have an F5 with my French fries, on concrete especially, and I'd be like, ugh, oh, that was great, Brock. Ugh. Here's your fries, kid. Now get going.
Lawsuit.
Especially my size, I'd be like, I gotta hurt like hell, right?
Yeah,
because Matt Hardy,
anything on concrete hurts like hell.
Yeah, because Matt Hardy, he took a F5 on a steel ramp back in 2002 during this Brock's inception into the WWE and all for the first time.
Yep.
So that gotta hurt like hell, right then.
Yep.
There. So I'm glad.
And that's steel. That's steel. That's not concrete.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worse, concrete or steel.
I don't know.
I don't want to know. That's for certain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
if I can say this though, with the WrestleMania matches and all, it would be nice to do like some sort of deal with the copyright laws. I know it's moving off topic, whatever. But if you want to create like this inception of like bringing the old fans or the new fans together, I think that's what they're trying to do. They would try to like do like a DVD sale or a Blu-ray sale, like buy the WrestleMania Volume 1, 2, and 3 for like 10% off if you buy W2K24 or some shit like that. Like that'd be great right there, Well,
actually, WWE also just stopped making physical DVDs. WWE's going all digital.
Yeah, that fucking sucked because they actually did a WrestleMania volume of.
Well, the old stuff will still be out there. It's just not they're not making anything new.
Because they were doing like sort of bundle of WrestleMania volumes, whatever, for like 30, 40, 50 bucks each. Some shit like that. I've always wanted to get it for years, but it's so hard to get that kind of money together,
Right.
So that's all I had to say.
Okay. So if you're a fan of the game, it's coming out March 8th. If you bought the or you're gonna order the deluxe or WrestleMania edition, you'll be able to play it March 5th. But like I said, the showcase, it's just honestly, ever since I saw how the game went from video game to transition to real life, transition back to video game, it's just like for me, I just don't see the appeal. Mm-hmm. Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next. Xbox Game Pass loses these two games very soon. Microsoft has confirmed a list of all the titles leaving the Xbox Game Pass library at the end of the month, and the good news is there are only a couple titles getting dumped. On February 29th, Microsoft will remove Madden NFL 22 from console and PC, and Soul Hackers 2 from console, PC, and the cloud from the Game Pass library. If you're a football fan, it might be some consolation to know that the newest entry in the series, Madden NFL 24, was just recently added to the Game Pass library, and Madden NFL 23 is still on Game Pass as well via EA Play. Soul Hackers 2 was released on Game Pass on February 28, 2023, so it seems Atlas/Sega might have had a one-year deal with Microsoft. As usual, Game Pass subscribers who want to keep playing or buy these games can buy these games outright for 20% off. Earlier this month, Microsoft removed Galactic Civilizations 3 and Opus Echo of Star Song from Game Pass, meaning Microsoft is cutting a total of 4 games in February. The additions I'm not going to go over because we'll probably go over them separately. So I'm not going to cover that. In other news, Microsoft recently confirmed that Game Pass has climbed to 34 million subscribers. Additionally, Microsoft stated that Game Pass will not come to PS5 or Switch. So there's a comment. Let me see what that comment is. It was a green face and then a yellow face throwing up. So, were you familiar with these games that are leaving? Let me get their titles again. Madden NFL 22 and Soul Hackers 2.
Soul Hackers, that's like a hack and slash game, right?
I've never played it, so I can't tell you.
Well, Madden NFL is like a cheap carbon copy for itself for the last like 15 years now. So I have those no comment on those Madden NFL games right there. But I do want to play that Soul Hackers game. See how that good that game is. It's like a Dark Souls game of sorts, or a Dark Souls Remembrance, or version of itself. You know, like that Eliza P that came out late last year, or Demon Souls such and such. So.
Well, Demon Souls came out a long time ago.
Oh yeah. I was just saying like that those based on like Dark Souls type of gameplay. From what I
well, Demon Souls I think was a direct sequel, just had a different name.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I never played these games. I mean, Madden is the same regardless. So, you've seen one Madden game, you've seen them all. Except they seem to come out more broken every year than last time.
Oh yeah.
But please keep making them. I love when Angry Joe reviews them.
Yeah, crazy every Madden. Say, for the love of God, is that fucking blue again? Stop it! Just like something go on now from Dragon Ball, the original. Stop it! Stop it! I miss those old Dragon Ball movies from the 90s.
And like I said, Soul Hackers 2, I never played it, so I really can't comment on it. For the games that left earlier in the middle of the month, Galactic Civilizations 3 and Opus Echo Star Song or whatever. Yeah, I really don't care about any of those games.
Okay.
Ready to move on?
Yes, move on from these games, please.
Okay. Next. Xbox still plans on having Activision Blizzard games appear day one on Game Pass. Xbox is working on ensuring Activision Blizzard games drop simultaneously on PC and console. Since Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion last year, people have wondered if games like Call of Duty would be coming to Game Pass. Microsoft still plans on having first-party Xbox games come to Game Pass on day one, which very well could mean games like Call of Duty. In an interview with GameFile, head of Xbox Phil Spencer shared that it's still Xbox's plan to have first-party games appear on Game Pass day one. Our interest is the full portfolio of games from ZeniMax, Activision Blizzard, and XGS, Xbox Game Studios, will be on Game Pass day one. Although Spencer's response doesn't give a clear answer on whether Call of Duty will appear on Game Pass, it reiterates what he said about games coming to the service on day one. Further in the interview, Spencer explained that there's still lots of behind-the-scenes work that needs to be done for Activision Blizzard games. We're doing the back-end work to make sure them come to PC and console simultaneously. Despite not clearly saying when Call of Duty will be coming to Game Pass, it's safe to assume that it's not that far off based on the company's recent behavior. Last week, Xbox announced that Diablo 4 would be coming to Game Pass 5 months after the acquisition was approved. So Call of Duty coming to Game Pass may not be that far off. For more Xbox news, check out our story detailing how Xbox's strategy doesn't hinge on people moving fully digital, says Phil Spencer. Let's check out the comments. Nintendian said that would be nice. And Red Lotus X says, does this mean a console version of World of Warcraft? LOL. So what? Um, I mean, I think this was pretty much a foregone conclusion. I mean, why else would you buy Activision Blizzard if their future games were not going to come to Game Pass immediately?
True, that's very true. Plus, it's like
I
a
mean,
copyright or at least a contract between Activision Blizzard and PlayStation, Sony about like
well, I think the contract was that the games would come to those consoles, not that the games were not that the games were going to be exclusive.
right. That's true.
You know, the contract was saying, okay, games will come to the PS5 and Nintendo Switch and everything else, but the contract never said anything about how Xbox wouldn't put it on Game Pass on their service.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yeah. So if yeah, so I mean, Activision Blizzard. I mean, I don't know because Activision Blizzard had so many layoffs. Microsoft itself had so many layoffs. Um, but yeah, I think this was kind of a no duh moment. Like, yeah, of course, the games from Activision Blizzard, or the future titles are going to hit Game Pass day one. Otherwise, what was the point of spending so much money on them?
Yeah, unless they thought or they assumed Phil Spencer that they could put World of Warcraft on the Game Pass right away after the acquisition. Then again, that didn't happen like that. So
Right, it took Diablo 4 or 5 months to make it, and honestly, I don't think World of Warcraft would work if you had to use a controller instead of a keyboard. I think World of Warcraft is one of those games that requires a keyboard and mouse.
yeah, with this day, those cheaters were coming in and out too.
Well, not even that. It's just how the game is controlled. Like, there's so many things you can do with the keyboard that you can't do on a standard controller.
Oh yeah,
If the game requires so many more buttons than the controller has, ready to move on.
yeah, I'm ready.
All right, next. Sega announces Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble for Switch. Sega has revealed an all-new entry in the Super Monkey Ball franchise. Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble has the highest player count in series history, allowing up to 16 players to compete in various online game modes. Banana Rumble also features an adventure mode, letting you roll through 200 new stages with up to 4 players online or locally. Characters are also highly customizable and have the ability to use the new Spin Dash move to compete in Race, Banana Hunt, Robot Smash, and more. Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble arrives on Switch June 25th. Players who want to go bananas can pre-order the physical Legendary Banana Edition for $50, which includes the standard edition of the game, a slipbook cover for the box, a 40-page art book, and a reversible cover. If digital is more your thing, the Digital Deluxe Edition is $70 and includes the Sega Pass DLC pack, which adds 6 iconic Sega characters to the roster, as well as bonus Sega-themed customization items. All right. So, what do you think of Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble?
Well, I did hear about Super Monkey Ball for a few years now, here and there. I think there was a latest game that came out sometime last year too, right? There was Super Monkey Ball came out for the Sony PlayStation, I believe.
I thought it did. Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's coming to the Switch now. This is the same game from last year coming to the Switch. Is it?
Right. I don't know if it is. I do know Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz was not that good. Um, but I mean, it seems like ever since that debacle of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, which was on the original Wii,
Yeah.
I think Super Monkey Ball has been actually okay as a game franchise.
The kids will still play it, but the older gamers probably don't care much about it.
Yeah, so it's probably the kids keeping the franchise alive. It look, I mean, from what it is, it's colorful. It's going to keep kids entertained. So,
Yeah.
um,
You know what's funny about the Switch console being dedicated to a certain gamers? I hear that for since the beginning of everything that the Switch console like millennials, actual us our 34-year-old companions of gamers playing on the system more than kids. That surprised me for a while now, and I'm very surprised that I haven't got a chance to play more of the Super Monkey Ball as it's as an add-on. But it's whatever at this point with the other, you know, um, other the group in demographics of the gamers. So
yeah. So, I mean, yeah. So, if you're a fan of this franchise, it's coming to the Switch on this during the summer in just about 4 months.
oh yeah,
Ready to move on?
yeah, we can move on.
All right. Next, Penny's Big Breakaway surprise launches today. Penny's Big Breakaway, a throwback 3D platformer by Evening Star, a team consisting of Sonic Mania developers, has surprise launched today. The news was revealed during this morning's Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase. As Penny, you're joined by a sentient yo-yo companion to battle Eddie the Emperor and his army of penguins. You'll use your yo-yo buddy to swing and zip across 11 collectible Aladdin worlds. See it in action in the game's launch trailer below. The game is available on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and the PC. You can watch us play Benny's Big Breakaway in this episode of New Gameplay Today for our hands-on impression, or read in our in-depth feature breaking down the game's creation here. Um, there's no comments. Did you even hear this game? What is it? Penny's Big Breakaway surprise? Penny's Big Breakaway?
Yeah, it's coming out as of like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
I looked into that article that you shared with me earlier today, and I saw the trailer and all. It looked all right. It looks like something similar to that of like make sure Crash Bandicoot was Spyro the Dragon in a sense. So and I was
Okay.
like, but the fucking sound effects annoying with the that constant ringing because when you collect those what they call them rings or packages, whatever, that make those sounds like like it was annoying as fuck after a while. Other than that, other than that, if you play the game directly, it shouldn't be that annoying. But yeah, it looks good to play. I mean, it's not my cup of tea because I wasn't too old for the game and based on the theme of the game and all. But if I had like a group of friends and perhaps family, if I have my own son, I'll be like, "Hey, son, you want to play this new game, Penny's Big Breakaway?" I'd be like, and my son will be like, "Sure, Dad, let's play it together." And I'd be like, "Okay, let's play it."
I would try it because I mean it does sound interesting, the navigation with the yo-yo, and collectathons. Rayman Legends is a collectathon if you think about it.
That too, Rayman Legends is similarity to that. Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, if I had any of the consoles that this game came out on, I would be open to trying it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's really all I can say though.
Yeah, same here with me. I wish they could have a demo of it on the Xbox Store, but obviously not necessarily for the X and S. Last time I checked, and the PS5.
Yeah, the best you could do is if it's on Game Pass and if you could stream it over the cloud.
Yep.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Next, Nintendo Switch Online is getting a number of classic rare games today. It's not quite rare replay, but the Nintendo Switch is getting an influx of classic rare games today. You can find the full list below. They're Snake Rattle and Roll for the Nintendo, RC Pro Am for Nintendo, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs for Super Nintendo, Killer Instinct for Super Nintendo, and Blast Corps for Nintendo 64. These games have been available with Rare Replay on Xbox consoles for some time, but it's nice to see them become available on the Nintendo Switch. So there are some comments. More and more goes. Blast Corps was so underappreciated. Kark Enoch goes, yeah, top 10 easily. Wave Race 64 too. Zangmaster goes, dude, Snake Rattle and Roll is a great game. Stuart Wilson goes, I vividly remember my friend in primary school telling me how the game was 3D and having to draw pictures to explain it to me. Someone's asking maybe Diddy Kong Racing next.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, so, and someone says, Diddy Kong Racing, while being better than Mario Kart, hasn't aged well. And someone else says 100% agree with Diddy Kong Racing. So, did you care about any of these games? Again, I'll read them again. Snake Rattle and Roll for Nintendo, RC Pro-Am for Nintendo, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs for Super Nintendo, Killer Instinct for Super Nintendo, and Blast Corps for Nintendo 64.
The Battletoads and Killer Instinct are going to be the big ones for me to look at the most on the Switch with this inception of rare replay or rare games from Rare Replay Studios. Obviously, Xbox One had a Rare Replay compilation game.
Yep.
At least like 7-8 years ago. So
it was early in the Xbox One's life cycle.
Yeah, I think I bought a copy of it many years ago, or got a discount of it through the Game Pass, whatever. So I can't remember everything, obviously, because I don't have Game Pass anymore. I haven't had one in years, the Game Pass, in months. I do have Xbox Core for another few more days at the most. So, it'd be nice to play more of the Rare Replay games on my Xbox. Other than that, coming to the Switch and all is great because now the younger players who are like 8, 9 to 15 years old, they can be like, "Hey, I want to play these games. Look cool," you know. Time of sitting down,
Yeah.
because us millennials, we'll gobble it up easily. Back in the day when we were kids, so.
Yeah, I have to say, RC Pro-Am, while I didn't play it on Nintendo, I did play it on Game Boy a lot when I was a kid. So I do have good memories of RC Pro-Am. I mean,
Okay.
it's basic racing by, standards. It's, the racetracks aren't going to knock your socks off, but, trying to avoid hazards, having to collect the letters so you could upgrade your car, that was actually a good game. So it's nice the Nintendo version's coming to Switch. Killer Instinct for Super Nintendo, I really don't have that much experience with it. I played the Killer Instinct I know best is Killer Instinct Gold on Nintendo 64. I don't know why they didn't just add that one instead.
Yeah.
The other 3 games I can't comment on though.
Yeah, same here with me.
So, ready to move on?
It would also be nice too if I think the Switch could also import the Killer Instinct Xbox One game to the Switch as well. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because I'm sure they will
Yeah.
the frame rates and the specs on that on the console.
I don't know if it would be demanding on the Switch or not, but like if they can't do that, I would have said go for the N64 version. If you can get the Super Nintendo version, there's no reason you can't get the Nintendo 64 version.
Yeah, at least those 2 games. Yeah, the other one we can wait for another console like Switch 2 coming out in a couple of years.
Right. Ready to move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay. Next. I just wanted to keep that list open in case I needed to. Oh boy, I'm gonna have fun with this one. Sims 4 adds vitiligo skin options and free update. You can now create a sim that more closely represents you or your friends after the latest patch. A new and free update for The Sims 4, EA's uber popular live sim, has added cosmetic options to the game that lets you give your Sims vitiligo skin patches and patterns. To help celebrate this awesome addition, EA has brought in the world-famous model Winnie Hollow. Vitiligo is an autonomous disorder that often causes some areas of a person's skin to lose pigmentation. This leads to the recognizable lighter skin patches and blotches often seen on folks with vitiligo. The patches can appear anywhere on the body, including the face and hands. While in the past people with this condition were shunned or treated poorly, more recently attitudes have thankfully changed, so folks with vitiligo are more likely to find acceptance. and a new Sims 4 update should help even more people learn about the condition and allow those with it to better represent themselves in the game. In a blog post on February 23rd, or 13th, EA announced that its latest update for The Sims 4, which is live now, has added a suite of vitiligo skin options. Impressively, the devs and artists have added tons of possible options that players can choose from the different parts of their digital character's body, letting them potentially match or at least get pretty close to their own skin patterns. When it comes to vitiligo in The Sims, we knew we wanted to start with providing a range of patterns showing different levels of coverage and symmetry, EA explained in its blog post, instead of getting the game to work correctly. In our research, we found that this depigmentation may have clear edges, and some edges may be darker and irregular. Affected skin can be absolutely white, or can be pink or varying shades lighter than the surrounding skin. EA also made sure that because vitiligo affects people of all ethnicities and skin types, its patterns and options would work with every skin tone available in The Sims 4. Please give me a minute while I reach for a bath bag. The end result is that more people will be able to more accurately see themselves represented in one of the most popular games in the world, which is awesome, that's a subjective statement. So is there comments? Oh wait, I think the article continues. Yeah. Okay. That's why I didn't see comments. To help celebrate the launch of this update and its new skin options, EA partnered with Winnie Hollow, a model who has vitiligo. She's an avid Sims player too. It's magical to see the Sims 4 team introduce the new vitiligo feature, said Hollow. As a child, I spent a lot of time playing The Sims, and I think it's so beautiful to be able to represent your true self in-game. This partnership is a powerful statement encouraging players to embrace what makes them unique both in-game and in real life. Oh my god. I'm trying. I am really trying not to say what I want to say. Here's an FAQ from EA with even more information about this new update and how its skin options work in-game. Can I choose the color of my Sim's vitiligo? Not quite. Although all patterns contrast greatly with your Sim's skin, the exact color of the vitiligo patches depends on the hue and tone of the skin color you choose. If you change a warm skin tone to a cool one, the color of the vitiligo reflects this. Can I change my Sim's vitiligo pattern? Can I add or remove it later? Yes, you can change, add, or remove any of the vitiligo patterns by returning to Create a Sim and doing so in the Skin Details section. Can the shape of the Sim's pattern change based on their body? Yes, skin details will adjust some depending on whether you stretch or move their skin or body part. If you widen the Sim's nose and they have a patch of vitiligo across it, the patch will change with it. Will vitiligo affect my Sim during gameplay? No, like the birthmarks feature, vitiligo patterns will not have any effects on gameplay. Can vitiligo layer with other skin details? Vitiligo can layer with all face and body details except birthmarks. You can also use tattoos and body hair with them. Why can't vitiligo layer with birthmarks? Vitiligo uses the same tech as birthmarks, so they will act the same way. You can't have multiple birthmarks, and they don't automatically transition between frames, younger to older, feminine to masculine. Teens will keep the same skin details for the rest of their lives, though, as long as they use the same frame. Will vitiligo affect my Sim's body hair color? No, we hope to address the ability of vitiligo to affect hair color to the future, but at this time, vitiligo will only apply to skin. Okay, I do want to read the comments. Just give it a couple minutes to load. Mm-hmm. Neuroplastic goes, talking about appearances changing, where did all our profile pics go, Zach? And whatever Dudos goes, I have vitiligo, nice. Let's see if I can. So, if I had to guess, they probably had to deal with one or more idiots using NSFW pics and decided to remove the feature after so many years with the same pic. Having the default one feels wrong to me. Inferno Review goes, I'm just going to blame that guy posted in every Jez article. So, Yeah. So, what do you think of this feature, or do you want me to go first?
I think you should go first. I don't know what the hell's Vintico be whatever. So
I think when I used to, I'm gonna be serious for a moment. When I used to ride the bus in Hempstead, I think there was a woman with vitiligo. Like her skin was like she was a black woman, but like her face and like some of her hands was like white. I mean, it looked like I honestly I thought she got like caught in a fire or something, and that's
right.
what caused the discoloration. I think that's what vitiligo is. I'm
Oh, like Michael
not sure though.
Jackson, like Michael Jackson's skin color in a sense.
No, Michael Jackson was bleach and changing his appearance. This is something people have no control over.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Um, but now, um, I have to say, this is what The Sims is focusing on. I mean, did we forget what happened with the horses update when they were supposed to add horses into the game, and what we got was the love child of Mr. Ed and the Exorcist.
Yeah,
So
yes.
I'm so and I mean, and the whole thing about I would really jump on the representation thing, but I have an article about that, so I'm gonna wait till later because that's planned for the end of the podcast, and
Right.
that's when I'm really gonna let loose on representation, this representation nonsense. Um, that's all I'll say for now on representation. But really, I mean, it's all cosmetic. At least they're not charging people for it. I guess that's a relief because it's a free update.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see EA like, oh, we're so inclusive and we're so accepting, and people used to be shunned and like exiled or whatever that article said. Where did this happen? I think that's all I got to say. Doctor Games 101. What do you think?
I'm about speechless right now because now I'm remembering what vitiligo means and all for the skin and all. I thought Michael Jackson went through that matter, but people say he bleached his skin most likely. So it's
Yeah, that's what I heard.
all right. Well, you know, as he gets a bad case of psoriasis like I have every now and then. I mean, vitiligo is even worse. I hear. So it's
Yeah.
kind of
I don't even know. I mean, if they want to bring knowledge to it, why are you doing it in the game? How many people are really going to go? Gee, I got to read up on this medical condition. I could really play Sims, but instead I'm going to read up on this.
yeah. Most people don't
Um,
care. Just want to play the game.
thank you.
Unless they want to,
And
unless they want to include the Karens of the world that want to play the game of Sims, you know.
not to mention, like I said, I mean, I just wonder. I wonder if this update launched already. Because if it didn't, oh my god, are we going to have content 2 weeks from now? If it did launch, finally, an update that was completely political, uploaded with no problems. How many updates before were dumpster fires?
Not to
You, you,
mention, not to mention the LGBT stuff they put into the game as well, Sims.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I mean, great. You know, more options to play around with, I guess. But at the same time, this is how you're going to this is how you're going to bring attention to that skin disorder. I'll call it.
Hmm.
Um, okay, is it going to be something that's forgotten about in a week?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Not to mention the
So,
$17 worth of other content you got to worry about too.
well, I still remember when they couldn't add horses correctly, and we got these demonic creatures that you can't even call horses. I was like, all is lost for The Sims. All is lost.
Yeah. That's what happens when you put everything into one game. You know.
Yeah, but the thing is, they couldn't get anything right. I mean, everything like when The Sims. I wrote a blog post on my website about this. I think the Horses update was coming out, and I was like, "Who is betting that EA is not going to mess this up?" And then the Horses update launched, and these things look like they belong to the Four Horsemen
The Four
of the
Horsemen.
apocalypse.
Yeah.
But this, they were able to get right first shot out. Think about that.
They want me to include it with everyone. They want to include everyone.
How about this? How about folk? How about you know what? I'm not going to go there. Not yet. We can do that at the end of the podcast.
Yes, we should.
Ready to move on?
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, don't stop laughing yet. Listen to this title: Mortal Kombat 1. Check out John Cena's Peacemaker debut and new gameplay trailer.
Yes.
Mortal Kombat 1 reset the fighting universe when it launched on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC last September. Now it's time for a new fighter from a different universe to join the roster. John Cena's Peacemaker, the hero that first appeared in 2021's The Suicide Squad, and later in his eponymous HBO Max series, joins the game next week on February 28th in 4 days. Ahead of his release, NetherRealm Studios has released a first look at Peacemaker's gameplay in Mortal Kombat 1, and it features a lot of justice, a lot of peace, and of course, a lot of blood. As you can see in the trailer above, Peacemaker is voiced by Cena himself and features moves inspired by the character's live-action counterpart. That includes the fatality, which starts with Peacemaker ripping Quan Chi in half by way of jetpack before sonic booming the rest of his body into bits. Peacemaker hits the Mortal Kombat 1 roster on February 28th for those who own the premium edition of the game or the Combat Pack. Peacemaker goes live for individual purchase on March 6th. Elsewhere in this trailer, we learn that Janet Cage is joining the game as a new cameo fighter in March. She's an alternate version of Johnny Cage from a different reality. We also learn that Crossplay, as NetherRealm calls it, will go live on February 28th, allowing PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via Steam and the Epic Game Stores players to fight against each other in-game. For more about the game, read Game Informer's Mortal Kombat 1 review. Are you going to play Peacemaker in Mortal Kombat? Let's look at the comments. Then I'll get Dr. Games 101's response. Justin Henretta goes, seriously? Who wants some fake wrestling poser as a hero? Absolute L. YDWYD goes, tons of people, considering how popular and well received the show was. Joker49 goes, who do you want? And who's the absolute L in your biopic? Ooh, ouch. Hawk222 goes, I couldn't quite describe why this doesn't feel all that special to me. Then I saw someone else sum it up pretty well. He seems less like a Mortal Kombat character and more like an Injustice character. I could see that. So, what do you think of John Cena joining Mortal Kombat?
If you can't see him now, you gotta see him in Mortal Kombat 1, you know?
That was awful.
I know, that's a horrible joke. You can't see me, but now you see me in Mortal Kombat 1, bitches. Hooah!
Okay, I'm revoking Dr. Games 101 speaking privileges.
Yeah, it's crazy right there. They gotta come up with something. I mean, it's Mortal Kombat 1, so it's kind of the reset of the Mortal Kombat series altogether, but like the second time so far. Because the first time it happened back like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Now, 15 years later, which is now the second wave of Mortal Kombat's, series after 35 years later. It's kind of like, not 35 years, but almost 30 years about. But it's, damn. You gotta wrap up this fucking series very soon, though.
They're not gonna do that. They just rebooted it, so.
Yeah, because what happened 15 years ago, they reboot the series soon because of Liu Kang and Raiden reset the time period or reset the time universe, whatever it's called.
Wasn't that like in Mortal Kombat? Wasn't that like in the 2011 Mortal Kombat?
No, that's in Mortal Kombat X 11.
Oh, okay. Because No, I remember like a Mortal Kombat story that started out like I forget who won the tournament, but like he was killing all the Mortal Kombat fighters, and like he was about to kill. I think Raiden was the last one, but then like at the last second, Raiden used something to go back in time to when the Mortal Kombat tournament first started.
It's got to be the Mortal Kombat 11.
Okay, and no, I don't think so because I played Mortal Kombat 11. That was like Cassie Cage, the daughter of Johnny Cage, and um,
Yeah.
so this was like 2011 Mortal Kombat.
Oh, the Mortal Kombat 10 from 2014.
No, I think it was the one before that. Because even though it was Mortal Kombat 9, which I'm pretty sure I could be wrong on that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's when Liu Kang died when he resurrected in Mortal Kombat 10 or all of the other
okay,
characters. But
okay, so
they
it,
definitely
it
reset
might have been
everything.
10.
Yeah.
It might have been 10. Um,
Yeah, I should play more
but
of
anyway,
10.
but anyway, so they rebooted. They just rebooted. So I mean, I think we'll be in our 60s. There'll still be Mortal Kombat games being made.
I feel like the 10th time we rebooted until it's back when peacetime was aroused. My
Be
God.
like, we'll be like in our 80s. It's like new Mortal Kombat game. Use the paddles on Doctor Games 101.
Because
You can't die yet. There's another game, Kombat game coming out.
yeah, because if I recall correctly, in Mortal Kombat 11, now I will admit this, I bought the game months ago, but I got just to play it because I don't have the disk space for either of my consoles. But I hear that in Mortal Kombat 11, there's this new boss called, I forgot her name already, but she's like a female boss of all the bosses. She's a boss of all the bosses in layman's terms, and
Okay, I didn't. That might be true because they had what they happened is in as far as I remember because I did play Mortal Kombat 11 before my Game Pass subscription expired. I didn't play all the way through it, but they did have like the story, and then they had like Warzone, which was like part two of the story. But I think Warzone was like DLC. Um, so yeah, they that might have been true. I didn't get all the way through the story. I do know the story started basically by introducing Cassie Cage as the daughter of Johnny Cage, and
oh yeah,
I forgot who was her mother.
right.
And then they started something where Johnny Cage from the past came back, um, and he had to coexist with current Johnny Cage.
Yeah, that's Mortal Kombat 11 right then and there. Yeah,
Yeah, and and like I saw like uh, previous Johnny Cage got like a scratch on his face, so like all of a sudden it appeared on current day Johnny Cage. I thought that was cool. But that's like about as far as I got in the story before my Game Pass subscription ran out.
yeah. It's hard to keep track after Mortal Kombat 9. And it's like you should have wrapped up as early as Mortal Kombat 10. After that, just leave the game alone for that few years. You know,
Yeah, well, I mean, 10 was like when they started adding people like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees and
Alien,
other.
Alien as well,
Huh?
Alien as well, the Xenomorph.
Yeah.
I got
Yes.
XL, I got Mortal Kombat XL, which includes all the characters and props and stuff. So I got that for about $10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, John Cena's hero costume. Anyone who's familiar with the show on HBO Max, he's going to be joining Mortal Kombat soon.
Yes, you can't see him.
Ready to move on?
Yes, we're gonna not see him ever again after that. Yeah, let's move on from this fiasco before it's too late.
Okay, 10 Xbox games are shutting down their servers in March of 2024. It's a busy month for server closures. Now and again, throughout the year, the servers for various Xbox games end up being shut down for different reasons, whether that's simply because they're old titles now, or perhaps they haven't performed as well as expected. We've seen a few Xbox servers being shut down already in 2024, but March is looking particularly busy for these closures with games from EA, Ubisoft, and From Software all being affected. We highlighted these late last year, but they were announced in stages, so we thought we'd bring them all back together ahead of the new month. Here are the Xbox games that are shutting down their servers in March so far. Armored Core on March 30. Armored Core Verdict Day on March 31st. Dark Souls 2 for Xbox 360 on March 31st. F1 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, and F1 Race Stars on March 21st. Micro Machines World Series on March 21st. Rocket Arena on March 21st. And The Crew on March 31st. The big highlight here for many is probably The Crew, which is unfortunately an online-only game, meaning it'll be totally inaccessible after March 31st. EA's Rocket Arena will also become completely unplayable 10 days earlier. We'll have more Xbox server shutdowns later this year too, with the biggest loss being the Xbox 360 store closure in July. It shouldn't affect anything in terms of backwards compatibility, but lots of 360 only games will be delisted forever. We do have comments. Lusty Duck goes games as a service. Guy in PA75 goes after buying or putting money into game as service, then never being able to play it again. All digital is a great thing, right? Nope. Granted example is a game as service, but take a good look at it not being able to access something after paying for it. Physical media is the best and only way to go. This will not happen to you. Grizzly Stuff says in response to that guy, if it's actually the full playable game on the physical disc cartridge, then yes, it's definitely the best way to go. But in reality, a ton of physical media is just wasted resources for something that you're going to have to download digitally anyways, because it's not actually on the disc or cartridge. I expect limited run physical copies will be a niche market for collectors, and that's all. Not sure how you could stop that change from happening, as the average consumer doesn't care about having a physical copy, so neither do the publishers. Dr. Games 101, this was actually your article, so I want you to express your opinions first.
Yeah, sure. Now I will admit this: I'm not a big fan of any most of these games that we mentioned are going to be away after March 31st and all. Specifically, with one of them, I could have played more of called The Crew, though, because obviously that's like on the Xbox 360 most likely, as well as the Xbox One versions of itself too. So I got The Crew 8, I think it is, and the regular The Crew. Um, so it's like you want to make time for these games, but at the same time you got other games to choose from the Xbox Game Pass library and all. So my point is, I guess you say, is that it's like these are games that are not going to be as important to most people as we progress in time. This is my opinion, of course, obviously, because obviously the one that stays out the most is Armored Core and The Crew, because this is my opinion as well too of those two games. Because and Dark Souls 2, yeah, but I mean, people are going to buy the remastered versions of those, the 3 disc version, which I got for about $75 for the Dark Souls trilogy, because it was Dark Souls remastered, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and I think Demon Souls was a part of the package as well. I doubt it though. It says somewhere in my apartment that I got the game of Dark Souls trilogy. So, but yeah, it sucks though. After a while, all these live related service games, we'll call them, they're gonna be expired after a few months to a couple of years, and that's it. It's over. And this is, it's funny that these games will go back for the 10 years ago. Some of these games, obviously. So it's
Yeah,
like live service games back then were not called live service games. It was just basically like DLC and other um, multiplayer type of games to play with others online with limited service, a limited time. So, but now with the games like Fortnite, Apex Legends, now it's fully online. Everything's online. You have no disc version. You'll have no full game or base game to play it on while the servers will shut down. Because at least I can still play The Crew and Armored Core Verdict Day on disc still. And there's even games like what's the other game called? Um, Dra- Dragon's Dogma, if I pronounce it properly. That game is coming out. The second sequel is coming out already. The second game is coming out sometime next month or two, if I remember correctly. So I hear that game is going to be like have like DLC and stuff like that, or even actually more like it, more relevant is Monster Hunter. The newest Monster Hunter, but this was to come out this year. That's going to be live service most likely as well too, along with Monster Hunter World. So but you still get the base game of the game too, still. So
yeah.
yeah,
Honestly, it's another reason to go back to retro. Um,
yeah,
get PS2, get Get PS3 and 360 if it's not an online required game. There's plenty of games you can get for PS3 and Xbox 360 and the Wii that don't require you to be online. Um, or just go further back in time: PS2, GameCube, original Xbox, PS1, Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, etc., etc. Um, because you buy these games or you pay to download them, and then you can only play them for so long, and then we're shutting off the servers.
Yeah, screw
Sucks
you.
to be you.
Yeah, screw you. Buy more.
Yeah, yeah. Please buy our next game. We promise to keep it online for a certain amount of time. So yeah, so I mean, again, I didn't want. That's why I didn't really want to go first because I'm just going to sound like a broken record. But
Save you with me.
it's the same thing. It's another reason I went back to retro. I'm going to go for PS2. Not so much PS3 anymore. At least until my PS3 starts. My PS3 sound is not working. I don't know if the AV cords just got knocked loose, but the system still recognized them, or if it's just defective AV cords, or what.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I said, my Xbox 360 is completely dead. I still have to throw it out. But like I said, I'm going back PS2, PS1 because all PS1 games are compatible on PS2. I have my PS1 memory card, so I can play that. I got the original Xbox. I got a Wii U, which plays all Wii games. Um, and like I said, I'm even going to go back to further back, to Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, Sega CDs, Super Nintendo. So
And I bet if you save more money, or at least invest more better equipment, you can get an Elgato capture card, or any capture card that's high quality, and record games on a computer and put on YouTube for others to see, or through a live stream even.
I don't have any problem recording games on computer. But if I was going to get a capture card, I would. Actually, I wouldn't do it if I. The only reason I would get a capture card is if I was still playing games like on Xbox One, say like Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
and like if I had to stream a game through the cloud to just play it, then it would be worth getting. Then it would be worth getting a capture card for me. But since I don't plan on renewing Game Pass or Game Pass Core even, um, it's not really something I need because Xbox One from can stream from my laptop to where I choose to record the gameplay or stream it to Twitch automatically. So
And nowadays there's also Twitch on the Xbox as well, where you can record directly from there too.
exactly, yeah. Sometimes I don't. If I want, I don't even have to launch my computer. I just put on the headset, connect it to my controller, and launch Twitch through the Xbox One menu, and and then play whatever I'm playing on Xbox One. Um, yeah, so I mean, like I said, these online games, it sucks when they shut down the servers, and it's like, are these servers? It's like, are people not playing these games? That'd be one thing, but it seems like so many servers are being shut down all at once.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, and it just sucks. Like when you're like, well, I had fun playing that game. I can't play it anymore, even though I spent money on it.
And you get no refunds at the same time.
Right.
Always a partial refund.
Yeah, at least yeah, or like even a game credit like in the digital marketplace. I mean,
But you know what's interesting about these type of trends going on, all these shifts in our economy systems altogether. Games like what's it, the Xbox original games before they got shut down, and Microsoft gave each and every gamer like a partial refund or some credits added to their Microsoft points, whatever, as well as a free Xbox gold membership. I think it was too, if I recall correctly. Remember those
okay,
times? Yeah, it was decades ago, like a decade and a half ago. This happened back in 2010, where like 3 months or 2 months prior to the shutdown, they said they give you like several Microsoft points and gold membership. I think it was, if I recall correctly. Definitely the Microsoft points are going to give you, but yeah, they tell you ahead of time, like back up your data or record as much as you can, etc., etc.
yeah,
So.
or go retro.
Mm-hmm. And you can still record on the retro consoles too. As much, like if you have
Yeah,
the
they're actually
proper
much easier
gear.
to record.
Yeah, way
All my
easier.
retro consoles, even the Nintendo, uses AV cords,
Yeah,
and my capture device also uses AV cords. So all I have to do is take that capture device and plug it into my USB drive, and boom,
indeed.
any game I'm playing, I can have right on OBS, and then from there I can record or stream it.
Oh yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, we can move on now.
All right. Next, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League fell short of expectations, according to Warner Brothers. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, the third-person live-service multiplayer server shooter from Batman Arkham series developer Rocksteady Studios, launched earlier this month. It received middling reviews. Read Game Informer's review here to find out why we gave it a 6 out of 10. And fans have been less than impressed with the shooter. It seems Warner Brothers Discovery is less than impressed too, as the company said in its latest financial call that Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League had fallen short of our expectations, as reported by IGN. More specifically, that's Warner Brothers Discovery Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Wiedenfels, who said Rocksteady's latest effort fell short of the company's expectations. However, Weidenfels did not mention a sales figure. According to IGN, the executive lamented that Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League missed expectations, set Warner Brothers game division up for a rough year when it comes to year-on-year comparisons. Weidenfeld is likely alluding to Hogwarts Legacy, the company's massive hit that launched last year and went on to become the best-selling game of 2023, beating out titles like The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. The sales of Hogwarts Legacy was certainly a rough act for Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League to follow. For more about this game, read Game Informer's review of Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, and then check out our Game Informer's list of the best superhero games of all time. After that, read our list of upcoming superhero games to look forward to. Have you been playing Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League? Let me read comments. YDWYRD goes, considering the negative reactions to everything about the game in the year before launch, I can only begin to imagine what they thought it was going to sell like. Everyone is pissed off that this game is a generic looter shooter. So clearly we're gonna sell 30 million units in our first month. John Leonard goes, it really makes me wonder what the extra 9 or so months of development time did for them, because I can't imagine the game being much worse than this. A reply was, I remember we all assumed it was going to move the GAAS elements because of the massive negative backlash, but then they announced they were going ahead with those. Now I'm kind of curious what kind of dumpster fire would have gotten if they had gone with the original release date.
Mm.
Earthbound X goes, making a game for your shareholders and not your players doesn't tend to work out. Well, I wish that was always true, but when games like Diablo Immortal make insane money, it's just depressing. So, yeah. What do you think of Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League not meeting X sales expectations?
It was expected, because this may sound like it's like a dead on arrival of this game, very start
Yep.
at all. Because when you put a title of the game when they kill the Justice League, and you're literally going to kill the Justice League, that's gonna fuck up the universe as a whole for future games or future movies as well. So if you're gonna try to put that into the DC extended universe, you want to call it like that, because they're gonna reboot the series in 2025 with a new Superman movie. So I don't know what they're gonna do after this game. After that, for next 1 to 2 years from now. At this rate, it's gonna be um, the last Batman related game for this universe. We're gonna call it. Because the universe started, the DC universe started as early as 2014 with Man of Steel, which I saw for the first time in full length on my Amazon Prime video. So it was pretty good, that movie, Man of Steel, back when Henry Cavill was the Superman and all. So I think Henry Cavill's going to stop being the new Superman for this reboot. So that's a good thing and a bad thing because he's getting older, so he can't really do so much with his physique and all. But other than that, the Suicide game itself is horrible. Like, you want to kill off the Justice League, kill off Batman, kill off Superman, Harley Quinn. Just like she doesn't look all that sex appeal like that of that 2016 Suicide Squad movie. So it's kind of like and the Birds of Prey movie that came out back how many years back? I saw that movie in its fullness, and it was all right to watch. It was funny as fuck sometimes because of the way they choreographed the fighting scenes and shit like that. So Harley Quinn was kind of like my go-to girl for like seeing the action all in the DC universe. But other than that, it's all awkwardness. It's not graceful. It was basically shoved in there because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that's been around since 2008, 2007 with Hulk and all and Iron Man. So it's weird, right? It's fucked up. I don't
Well,
know. Yeah, go on.
I want to say first, the Rocksteady that made the Batman Arkham games are not the same Rocksteady that made Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. It's all different people. They're same in the company name only,
Okay,
basically.
all right, that's a good thing.
So that's one thing.
That's a good
But
thing.
I was watching a video made by some ordinary gamers on YouTube, Mudahara, and he's like, Stevie Wonder could have seen this coming. Um, that the game was not going to sell well. Um, so yeah. I mean, I don't know what maybe these executives need to have their heads pulled out of their asses. Because I mean, we talked about it before the game was going to release ourselves, and we said live action shooter. I'm out.
Yep. Only 1,000
Yeah,
players still playing this game after not even a month of its release.
yeah. Oh god, yeah. So the game's averaging between 800 to 1,000 players, and it's still in its first month. That should tell you something.
Not even a
Marvel's
month.
Avengers didn't die this quickly.
Yeah, not even a month. It just went down to 1,000 players. That's crazy. So
Yeah,
it was that repetitive
yeah,
right there too.
and there were plans that they were going to release the Joker as a playable character. I don't know if they're still going to do that or if they're just going to cut their losses now.
Good luck.
Um, but yeah, I mean, this is what you get when you're making games that for live service that no one wanted. No one wanted this. No one wants your SJW messaging in there because there was a lot of that in this game too.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the male superheroes got debts that made them look foolish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah. So I mean, you know what? This game deserved to fail, and it did.
I get another
You
killer
know,
game,
maybe
right?
maybe the reason the Batman games are so well. Yeah, maybe they had a multiplayer mode. I remember Batman Arkham Origins. I think you could do like Joker's army against like Two Faces
Mm-hmm.
goons or something like that. Um, so they did have like an online mode. The rest were basically like leaderboards for different challenges and stuff.
Yeah.
But at least but those games did well because care was taken. It was the games were taken care of. They were made with care. Basically, is what I was trying to say.
Yes.
Um, uh, and they didn't have all this SJW crap uh, under the guise of a live service game. Gee, no wonder no one wanted this game. I mean, we knew it was going to be crap when we previewed it.
Oh yeah.
When we talked about when we talked about it, I think it was like a month from coming out or 2 weeks from coming out, and we said this is going to fail.
All right.
What need to move on?
So I say though that Suicide Squad Killers Justice League, I would willing to play it just for the sake of know how bad it is. Give it a couple of hours of play, like both the story mode and the endless survival mode, if there's such thing in there. I'm sure they have a survival mode in that game too. So because I'm sure it's not that bad to play every now and then, but as a live service game, it kills itself within a matter of weeks. So it's like good
People
enough.
say it kills itself in a matter of minutes because it's that boring.
Yeah, redundant, boring, repetitive.
Yeah,
No nudity,
and
no girl action, no nothing. Because Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn could come together and be like like a sisterhood type of shit. But they killed off Poison Ivy in that game and get a kid version of Poison Ivy in that game later on, which is still
yeah,
there. So
yeah. So like I said, this game it wasn't they weren't making it for players. They were trying to inject their SJW messaging, and it gives me great joy to see that this game failed and crashed and burned basically.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Maybe you don't try that with a live. Maybe you get rid of that crap messaging, SJW messaging, and maybe you make a single player game or a multiplayer game if you want. That doesn't require multiplayer, and maybe you make a game that's fun.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it, Rocksteady.
I hear too that when it comes to Street Fighter makers, the ones making Street Fighter games and all, that they
Capcom, I think.
Yeah, well, if you want to call these people part of Capcom, but in their tweets, they say to the other gamers online, they actually say out loud in a tweet saying that, "Oh, I hate gamers," in short, and that's it, because they hate gamers literally. That's what they say to their audience that have criticized them about the games like Street Fighter or Tekken and shit like that. So, it was.
Yeah, well, no one's going to be crying over those people when they get given a box and they say, "Clean out your desk. You no longer work here."
Yeah, I would never. If I have my own gaming company with my own gaming console and stuff to put into works in a couple of decades, and I found out these people will try to join my company, I'm like, fuck no, you're not gonna join me in my company. I'll make you wash some dishes and maybe like clean my bathrooms, but that's about it. That's about it. That's all you're gonna do for my company. You're not gonna take part in the creation.
Stay away from the computers.
Yes, you gotta learn the hard work, boys and girls. Yeah. Get down and gritty with that fucking toilet. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I'm a fucking billionaire right now, but one day I will be a billionaire. Hopefully. So
hopefully.
Yes.
Ready to?
It's all those SJWs. Get down on the floor and clean that fucking tile, bitch.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, ready to move on. I feel so good after that. I'm ready to move on.
I didn't know where else we could go with that.
Yes.
Microsoft isn't exiting the console business, Xbox boss Phil Spencer reportedly told staff. Microsoft will reportedly continue to make consoles amidst claims of it planning to adopt a multi-platform release strategy for first-party games. Amidst reports of Microsoft bringing various first-party games to rival platforms, Xbox chief Phil Spencer reportedly assured staff that there are no plans to exit the console business. Microsoft's plans to continue its console business, according to journalist Shannon Lyle, and it's claimed that Microsoft's strategy will involve Xbox hardware and multiple kinds of devices. The company held an internal Tuesday town hall where Spencer told employees that there was no plan to stop making consoles and that Xboxes would continue to be part of a strategy that involves multiple kinds of devices. This lines up with previous comments from Spencer where he mentioned Microsoft's aim to expand the reach of the Game Pass subscription service. The last couple of weeks have seen rumors circulating that Xbox games like Hi-Fi Rush, Starfield, Gears of War, and the upcoming Indiana Jones and the Great Circle could be headed to PS5 after it launches first on Xbox Series X and S and PC. This would mark a radical departure from Xbox's strategy over the last few years to keep its first-party games exclusively to its consoles and PC, and last week, Spencer announced that there will be an update on Xbox's future plans this week. "We're listening and we hear you," Spencer wrote on X/Twitter. "We've been planning a business update event for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned." Jeff Grubb of GameSpot's sister site, Giant Bomb, recently mentioned that Microsoft originally planned to reveal its new game release strategy at the end of February, although it appears this has been moved up to this week. I do want to read comments. Jeroman goes, "Why do fanboys of any product platform hate so much other products' platforms?" That's valid. If it doesn't harm you, let it alone. By the way, I don't have to say what would happen without competition. Just one more goes, "If the two big consoles ever decide to forego their backwards compatibility, then Microsoft will again stand a chance to win the console wars, given they fold out an enticing set of circumstances. So there's still hope, or fear if you are on the opposing end. Circumstances such as releasing HD remasters of old games quickly and something like a handheld for gaming on the go without the cloud, BS. And let's cut the BS. Of course, when you're trying to sell your product, there's always competition and always a war on sales. Most consumers have X amount to spend yearly on entertainment, and they are in competition and war to acquire your X dollars over the competition. Microsoft is changing the rules and twisting Sony's arms, and if they don't follow suit, then Microsoft may have the advantage if their quality AAA games ever come. Microsoft will release some of their games on competing platforms, and that will bring in more money for more projects. And Sony, no doubtfully, has to have an answer for this. And Stick 'em Up goes, they're not getting out of the console business yet. They absolutely will at some point. It doesn't make business sense for them to continue when they're that far behind Sony and Nintendo every generation. If they do decide to try another console up to this generation's and it flops again, it will be their last. Obviously, we know what's going on now. We know that they did bring some games to PS5, but it was like Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush. I forget the other one. What do you think of this?
Well, obviously, it was obvious for a couple of years now that Microsoft's not going to exit out the console business at all. What they're going to try to do, and what they have been doing for the last couple of years at least, to what is already public knowledge, at least been behind the scenes, what we hear, based on rumors most likely, obviously, but now it's turned into actual factual statements. Microsoft is going to gear towards being a publisher more than an actual gaming company of itself, making the games or having consoles thereof. So once told this new console comes out next couple of years or so, after that, that's their last console. This is what we've been gathering over the last couple of years now, between you and I and Triple J. So it's
Well, it's also going to depend on the success or failure of the next console, obviously. But they said basically like Sea of Thieves, a Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush. Like I said, I forget the fourth game. Those were the games coming multi-platform, and it's like, okay, these games, they are great games, but they also do depend like on a big player playing base, and they kind of peaked on Xbox, so they're sending those to other platforms so they can expand their player base. That's what Xbox is doing. Everyone was way off and blew out of proportion. Oh my God, Microsoft's going the way of Sega.
no. Damn, Xbox is based on a $3 trillion company of its net worth as of like last year or two. So Microsoft did not go anywhere as a company, let alone with their Xbox brand. So what are you guys panicking about? They're not like Sega, where Sega will fucking dish out their resources so quickly on so many different console attachments and sub-generations and shit like that. Because Sega, they were trying to do the Sega CD, Sega 32 drive, whatever it's called, the Sega
32X.
Yeah, the cable service within the cable connected to the Sega console. Then Sega Saturn.
That actually was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then they did Sega Saturn, then Sega Dreamcast, and
well, what happened is people with Sega, people were tired of being lied to. They were like, the Sega Genesis is great, and it was a great console. Then they brought out the Sega CD. The Sega CD is going to be the future, or was it? Mm-hmm. Then they released the 32X. 32X is going to be the future. There were 34 games released for the 34X, and 6 for the CD 32X if you happen to have both attachments. Yes. Then they were like, no, forget about that. Sega Saturn's going to be the future. And it wasn't. Then when the Sega Dreamcast came around, they were like, Sega Dreamcast is going to be the future. And people were like, we heard this already. Multiple times.
For the third time at least, yeah.
Yeah, and by the time, that's what really, honestly, I think that's what really killed the Dreamcast, is they lost so much fan support because fans just felt being lied to. The Sega Saturn was not the future, like they said. The 32X was not the future, like they said. The Sega CD, the technology wasn't there to make games on disc yet. Mm-hmm. And how many times can you have a company say this is going to be the future? You buy it, and then it turns out. I mean, like I said, the 32X had 34 games for it, and 6 CD 32X if you had the Sega CD and 32X. So, like, there were 40 games that worked on the 32X. 6 required the Sega CD. And the thing is, they had another console planned in between, which they canceled, which was the Neptune, which was going to be a standalone 32X.
God damn!
But they canceled it and made it an add-on for the Sega Genesis.
Holy shit! I don't know about that part. Okay.
Yeah, the 32X was originally supposed to be its next console after the Sega Genesis.
Okay.
And the thing is, after the 32X, people were like, just wait a minute, the Sega Saturn's on the way, Nintendo 64 and PlayStation's coming just around the corner. It's better to wait 6 months instead of buying the 32X.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. Back in the 1990s, the internet just started happening, so not everyone had access to the internet to see different perspectives and different like reviews, things other than IGN and Game Informer, Nintendo Power, etc., Funko Land, so on and so forth. So people have to rely on the news, rely on the stores that go into to buy these games. So there was, because obviously that's what it controlled the media at the time. It was the TV, radio, and newspaper. But the internet within the last, from like 1995 until 2010, it was like it was creeping into the game industry's integrity, because they can't get taking advantage of people like they used to, because people started talking more and more on the internet and presenting more and more facts and perspectives and you name it. Like people will start to listen to more other people online rather than these gaming companies. And now,
Yeah.
we got this SJW stuff coming to about. They can't do that stuff at all because everyone now knows what's up with the matter in
Yeah,
day one.
because people are sick of people are being sick are getting sick of being lectured to. Imagine that.
Yeah, maybe you could do that back 25 years ago with the Sega Saturn, the Genesis, and all those game consoles, but not this decade, especially this
Well,
decade.
you really can't even do it then because, like I said, that's what like, the Sega Dreamcast was a great console, but it still failed. And it
Yeah,
failed because they didn't have the trust of their customer base that the Sega Saturn had, that the 32X had, that the Sega CD had.
yeah. Sega was being too greedy with their consoles.
Yeah. So, anything else to say, or ready to move on?
You can move on now.
All right. Next, Xbox Game Pass release is announced, and there's a lot of games coming. Microsoft announces the next wave of Game Pass editions. Microsoft has announced the next set of additions to the Xbox Game Pass library and includes 2 games that are out right now. Available today is the action RPG Tales of Arise and the narrative adventure game Return to Grace, both of which are available across console, PC, and the cloud. On February 21st, the zombie game Dead Island 2 was added to Game Pass. Then on February 22nd, Game Pass adds Bluey, the video game, which is based on the TV series. On February 27th, Game Pass adds the humorous killer shark game Man-Eater on console, cloud, and PC, while Madden NFL 24 adds cloud support that day. It was previously added to Game Pass on console. February 28th sees the launch of Indivisible, an action role-playing game from Lab Zero Games, a studio that laid off its entire staff in 2020. The game is actually making its return to Game Pass as it was initially removed from the catalog in January of 2021. 2024 is a deep year, which means there is a February 29th. Oh, 2024 is a leap year, which means there is a February 29th, and Microsoft is adding the sandbox game Space Engineers to the catalog that day across console, cloud, and PC. Microsoft also revealed one of the games coming to Game Pass in March, and that's Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun, which arrives across console, PC, and the cloud on March 5th. This is the second wave of additions on the Game Pass catalog in February, following the arrival of 7 games earlier this month. There are 2 more games leaving Game Pass library this month, and they are Madden NFL 22 and Soul Hackers 2, both of which leave February 29th. So once again, here's the additions. 4 days ago, Tales of Arise and Return to Grace came to console, cloud, and PC. 3 days ago, Dead Island 2 came to console. 2 days ago, Bluey the video game came. They didn't say which cloud, console, or PC though. So February, and in 3 days will be Man-Eater coming to console, cloud, PC, and Madden NFL 24 coming to the cloud exclusively, because I think Madden NFL 24 is already there for console users. In 4 days, on February 28th, is Indivisible coming to cloud, console, PC. On February 29th is Space Engineers coming to cloud, console, and PC. And then on March 5th, it's Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun coming to cloud, console, and PC. So let me get the comments. Ember to Flame goes, Dead Island 2, yes please. The other games I got on PlayStation. Tales of Arise is really good. Loved it. Worth buying, but Now you don't have to if you got Game Pass. Slato K Robot goes, Tales of Rise, the only game I am interested in, where it's also a time sinker. It's not a tumor. Goes some good gets there. So basically, are you interested in any of these games that are coming to Game Pass or that came to Game Pass recently?
If I recall correctly, the Bolt Gun Warhammer game that looks good to play. I heard good things
That's
about
yep.
that game.
That's coming on March 5th.
Yeah, that'd be nice if I could earn some, because I still take part in my gaming tournament. So if I could earn like the monthly prizes or the periodic prizes that they have in my Z League app, whatever. So let's say, for example, that next week they reappear the $10 gift card, whatever. I can put that $10 gift card to use to buy the ultimate pass for a month. I can play the bolt gun during that time too. So if I can earn a Game Pass subscription, that'd be great during the tournament or whatever. If I can, because I still got a long ways to go to get to. I have like $20 to spend in like tournament money, but that's only towards like the tournaments themselves. So I convert that to Z League points. That'd be great to pay off that the amount for that Game Pass and all. But other than that, Bolt Gun's the game I want to play the most throughout this month or this next month coming out. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that does sound like good games there. Tales of Arise sounds like a good RPG if you like games that take many hours to complete. Dead Island 2 sounds like an awesome addition. The Warhammer games, I'm always interested in trying them out at least. Although some of them have let me down.
Yeah.
Space Marine was the one I liked the most. It sounds like a good. If you got Game Pass, it sounds like you're gonna have a lot of good games to play. If they're not there already, they're gonna be there within like next week and a half.
Oh yeah.
Anything else to add, or ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
Okay. Before we continue, I do have. I don't know if we want to cover this. I do have an article from IGN. I must have gotten it twice, or either that or the article from last time was updated. It's Warner Brothers amid Suicide Squad killed the Justice League fell short. This one's from IGN though. Do you want to cover it, or do you want to just skip it?
See what's going on with that article.
Okay. It's actually just a couple paragraphs.
Mm-hmm.
In today's Daily Fix, WB execs have admitted that the AAA game Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had missed their sales mark and fell short of company expectations. The game was met with middling reviews, with many critics and gamers taking issue with the divisive story. Developer Rocksteady, though, still has more DLC for the game in the works, including a playable Joker. In other news, Helldivers 2 dev Arrowhead is working on a patch that will raise the cap of concurrent players from 500,000 to 700,000. This, along with the new feature to auto-kick idle players, should help alleviate long wait times, especially as the game leads into its second weekend. And finally, Sony is looking into making the PSVR 2 compatible PC. This could do a lot to convince VR fans to shell out the dough for the pricey PS5 peripheral. So here's some comments from people on IGN. L Change the World goes, "Really, Warner Brothers, you don't say? Falling short of our expectations is an understatement. Maybe next time, listen to your fan base once. For years, fans wanted a Superman game set in the Arkham universe, but instead we get D-level anti-villain game that nobody wanted or asked for. So hopeful. Hold on. So hopeful. The failure of this game will teach you a lesson. Especially coming off the success of the Arkham games, you have to strike when the iron is hot. Warner Brothers and Rocksteady, it was a no-brainer to develop and make a solo Superman game." Anti-Gamer OS5 goes, "I don't know, that seems like a lot of assumption, as well as there are at least as many people, if not more, that aren't asking for a Superman game as these are, but that's all preference, I suppose. Also, just because no one asks for it doesn't mean it isn't a good idea, excluding the obvious, like when people were crying that Elden Ring was open world exploration, or the countless whiners for Marvel's Midnight Suns, being the genre it was. Um, Go Blinken goes, listen, never hire companies that prioritize DEI, diverse equity inclusion, or ESG agendas because they will infect your product with it. Yes, listen to the actual fans, not the activists, because they're eventually the ones who will buy and pay your stuff. And I do want to bring up this comment. Collector underscore JKK goes, to all gaming developers, your customer's way or highway. Um, Anything to add? I mean, they pretty much said everything we would say.
Pretty much. I mean, Suicide Squad. It was dead on arrival. It could have potential if they created a base game first, and then put online multiplayer as part of a live service game as optional to join. That's about it.
Yeah. So I mean, all I could say is, hopefully this will teach Rocksteady a lesson. Um, it's a shame that they're this company that cares about diversity, equity, inclusion. um,
Just worry about players playing the game, man. You'll be fine.
yeah, exactly. Make the best game that people want. And you know what? Why not try the Superman game? Get some people, get some games, get some of the comics, and make a game based on those comics. That's what at least the first two Arkham games were based on.
I'll do some what Evil
Um,
West is doing from like a couple years back when it was released. You played Evil West before, right? Triple J?
what game?
Evil West.
I heard of it. I didn't play it.
Yeah, it was on Xbox One. If I recall correctly. I never played it. I saw the 10 minute gameplay session on the YouTubes, and it was all right looking too. But what they did in that game was that they incorporated God of War with like Western spaghetti Western type of gameplay. You want to call it like that from the movies and all. So that's why it was all right successor or a success of itself. Evil West. That's
Yeah,
one
but
example, of course.
I'm saying, it's just so funny. I mean, even though I'm not a big fan of Superman, I have to admit, if they made a game that was like the Arkham games, but featured Superman and Superman villains and Superman's like the cast of Superman, I'd be interested in it.
Oh yeah.
So, if you really care about diversity and all that nonsense, make a Wonder Woman game. With all the movies coming out, I'm surprised there hasn't been a game specifically for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that surprised me. Wonder Woman so far has like three included movies of her in it. Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman 84. So yeah.
But no, they gave us a dumpster fire. So, if Rocksteady wants to kill itself out of existence, go ahead. Then keep doing what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Next, we only got. Let me see. We only got 4 more stories for tonight.
Oh yeah.
No major Sony franchise game releases are coming until April 2025 at the earliest. Don't expect to see new games from Sony's biggest franchises for quite a while. It looks like the next year will be a relatively quiet one. On the first-party front, that Sony, as the company, has said that it will not be releasing any major PlayStation franchise games because until before April 2025 at the earliest. Speaking in a financial call, Sony Interactive Entertainment boss Hiroki Totoki explained that while major projects are currently in development, it will be focusing more on its live service games throughout its next financial year, which ends on March 31st, 2025, because that was such a success already. Regarding first-party software, we aim to continue the focus on producing high-quality works and developing live service games, Totoki said. But while major projects are currently under development, we do not plan to release any new major existing franchise titles next fiscal year, like God of War, Ragnarok, and Marvel Spider-Man 2. Although the burden of acquisition-related costs will ease next fiscal year, we expect profit from first-party software to decrease slightly from this fiscal year due to the impact of the decrease in sales. While it's too early to expect new Spider-Man or God of War games, this does rule out new entries from some of Sony's other big franchises, like Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us in 2025. At the same time, new video game franchises like Fair Games, Marathon, and Concord are in varying stages of development, while the year ahead will see the release of several PlayStation-timed exclusives like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Rise of the Ronin, and Stellar Blade. The other big news coming out of the briefing was Sony confirming that it failed to meet its ambitious sales target of selling 25 million PS5s during the current financial year, leading to it to revise the projection to 21 million sales. Marvel Spider-Man 2 has sold over 10 million copies to date, and the company mentioned that the PS5 is now in the latter stages of its life cycle. Let me pull up comments. Mogan goes, well, when you got most of your resources developing live service games and then you cancel most of those projects, it does tend to leave a big gap in your delivery schedule. Maybe this is indicative of big budget single player games not being profitable enough anymore, but I don't know what possessed them to lean so hard into a market that is almost completely dominated by a relative handful of ultra successful games. Moogie Star goes, glass half full. At least Sony isn't rushing their guys to put something out. The kind of quality I expect from the top PlayStation studios warrants a long wait. Not sure how Insomniac does it every year. And Gamer Burn goes, PlayStation has no games? Or do third-party exclusives count now? I mean, we gotta keep that same energy, right? When Xbox had no first-party games, right? Something tells me the goalposts will be moved yet again. Also, I do want to bring up what I heard, but not mentioned in this article.
Mm-hmm.
The PS5 Pro is coming out at the end of 2024.
That's not bad.
There's 13 games that are exclusive to the PS5. There'll be 13 games exclusive to the PS5 when the PS5 Pro comes out.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of getting a PS5 or a PS5 Pro?
Especially the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing is, 2 of those 13 exclusive games are the PSVR titles. So, like, unless you got a lot of money, you're not getting those 2 titles. I looked at the list of games that were exclusive to PS5. Like I said, there's 13 titles. 2 or 3 of them I really care about. You know, Spider-Man, the Silent Hill games. And that's it. And it's like, gee, no wonder PS5s didn't sell so well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you basically had like Spider-Man 2 carrying the whole load, and I'm surprised they sold as many PS5s as they did.
It was a big hype back in the day, the first few months of back in 2020. That's the pandemic. And it's a privilege to buy them at the time, so that's why it was so in demand. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's the like I said, you're missing out on 13 games, some of which you probably wouldn't care about. So, how many you would care that you missed out on if you only had a PS4? I mean, you know, it's a game's going to have software to go with it.
Oh, yeah.
And no one's going to buy a new console if like 90 or 95% of the games are coming out on last year's or last generation's hardware.
Oh yeah.
And now they're releasing a PS5 Pro.
Like
At least do it when something like big like Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out. No, they're doing it this year.
Maybe we should push it back until like March of 2025. You know.
Yeah, do it when all these games are dropping. At least, I mean, what do you think about Sony saying PlayStation 5 is in the latter half of its life cycle? Are these? I think these console developers are trying to shorten the time between console generations as much as possible.
What's so interesting about back in from 25 years to now is that 25 years ago the life cycle of any console lasts for about 5 years.
But now they're trying to make it. Now they're trying to make it 4 years, 3 years. I mean,
Xbox was like that. The original Xbox was like that from 2001 until 2005. The 360 came out in 2005. So.
Yeah, but then the 360 was had 9 years as the main console.
At least 7, yeah.
And then, so it's. But the thing is, I mean, And then now we're going to where, like, when the Wii U had like 4 years, that was looked at like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're trying to say like, well, the PS5, it's in the later years, so we're bringing out a PS5 Pro
Mm-hmm.
to play what exactly?
Oh yeah.
So it's, again, these console developers. I don't know what's going on with them. Nintendo and Microsoft are not innocent of this. They do have their own problems. But yeah, I mean, with Sony, the PS5 was a failure. So you're going to release the PS5 Pro now.
Hmm.
What next? The PS5 Plus Edition? Why stop there? How about the PS5 Deluxe? And then we could do the PS5 Ultra. And then we could do the PS5 Titanic.
Titanic. That would be sick, though.
Miss the days when your consoles were as big as a 1980s VCR? Those days are here again.
Yeah. The Xbox Series X and S, it's pretty big console itself. It's bigger than a fucking VCR from 1980s. Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, the PS5 does not need a Pro. The PS5 barely has any games to play on it at all. Maybe you should focus on making those games.
Yeah, it's too late now. They should have planned this ahead at least like 3 years ahead of time, which is kind of strange. So they always do that for most of their consoles in the past. That's why everything was so graceful up until Xbox 360, PS3, but by Xbox One and PS4, it's kind of like, what the fuck happened? Everyone just fucked up their timing.
Yeah. Anyway, ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
All right. Let me X that out. Disney reportedly strikes deal for Sony to take over its physical media business. Hold on. Okay. According to various reports today, Disney and Sony have struck a deal that will have the latter take over Disney's physical media production moving forward. Digital Bits first broke the news today, followed by reports on Variety and Deadline. Per the Deadline report, the deal takes the form of a licensing agreement in which Sony will market, sell, and distribute Disney's new and catalog releases on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra DVD in the US and Canada, as well as taking over manufacturing. According to Variety, Disney will continue to handle its own digital media. It's unclear if the deal will lead to layoffs in Disney's physical media department. And the news that Digital Bits reports it's directly related, the Disney Movie Club will also come to a close this summer. Various customers reported being sent notices that informed them that the last day to order from the subscription-based service would be May 20th, 2024. We have made the difficult decision to close the Disney Movie Club, reads the announcement. We will miss the opportunity to serve cherished Disney fans like you. Disney Movie Club was launched 23 years ago and offered subscribers exclusive access to Disney's physical media library. The news comes as physical media continues to find itself in a decline in the streaming era. Best Buy, for example, plans to phase out its DVD and Blu-ray sales this year, while Netflix mailed out its final DVD rental last September. Still, the demand for physical media still very much exists, especially in an industry where streaming exclusives like Willow have been completely removed from the platform they were made for, effectively eliminating any legal way of viewing them. Christopher Nolan is among those who've said the current situation is scary for filmmakers, even as physical copies of his own movie Oppenheimer sold out at various retailers. IGN has reached out to both Sony and Disney for comment. Just let me see if I can get comments. Okay. Went too far. L1 B or L1 H87 goes, if this means the survival of physical media, particularly for console, this is good news. I wonder if Xbox are about to repeat a similar mistake they made over a decade ago, underestimating the value of physical media accessibility when they attempted to kill the trade and sharing of disc and force players to always be online. Like 50 Ninjas goes, how is this particularly for consoles when it's about Disney's library of movies and TV shows? Jesco23 goes, Sony has always shown the way to everyone, to be honest. Release the all-digital console, then sell them the add-on, saying that you give people a choice. Expensive one, but still a choice. The spin on it will be, well, at least the console doesn't have to cost $700 and is still capable. So, what do you think of Sony handling all Disney's movie and TV show DVDs, Blu-rays, etc.?
Sony themselves, it's kind
Yeah,
of
Sony themselves is going to be handling it.
um, I mean, more power to them, I guess. I mean, it's kind of weird though because Disney, if I recall correctly, Disney is as big as Sony, right? Or at least
No, I don't think so. Especially with all the DEI decisions Disney was making, they were making. It was either Disney or Sony that was losing like hundreds of $1 million on movies that no one wanted.
yeah. It would be nice though to like resell the media, physical media again. I mean that cause there's some old media from like 50 to 75 years ago that was that was censored in today's world because of the racial overtones, things like that with the Nazism and the black women's and stuff like that. It was kind of weird, fucked up, but it's history. I keep watching those type of those videos. You know.
Yeah, well, they said Sony's going to handle the selling of physical. Disney's still going to be in charge of selling its digital. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how Sony's going to do it. It's physical media. Um, so maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is a nothing.
I would like to say this though that if they really want to sell their overrated, no one would call overrated, but their racial undertone videos or their past racial videos or sexism videos, want to call it too, it was Nazism or the second class female stuff like that. All that weird shit happening back then. It's iffy. You had to sell it to us, to younger people, obviously. But if you sell it to older adults, we're gonna cherish it as history. Like if they're trying to sell something like that, I doubt it though. But if they have like leftovers of those videos, I'll be like, hey, sell it for about a discount. For like, oh, if you buy a Sony PlayStation 5, we'll give you like 25% discount on the old Disney videos, uncensored and shit. That'd be nice, you know.
Yeah, I don't think Sony's got that kind of. I don't think Sony and Disney's partnership is like that though.
But I should try that. So risky like that. Because I want to
Yeah,
buy a PS5 if there's like more to the PS5's purpose. Like I'm not
yeah.
gonna
Like I said, there's 13 games. The rest of the games you can play on PS4.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I
Why do you go on?
I know I'm just trying to play something or pick a bone here out of nowhere, but it's just something where it's like Disney know they have bad publicity of its past content with their old videos and stuff like that. So if they're trying to get rid of it through other means other than destroying it, I mean, you gotta do something worthwhile with your sales. You know,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
if they're selling those type of music, those type of material. You know,
Yeah.
so that's my opinion
Okay.
on the matter.
Yeah. I really got nothing to say. So ready to move on.
Yeah, ready to move on.
All right. Just a couple more stories left. WWE 2K24 final roster confirms removal of Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon. Lesnar had previously been removed from the 40 Years of WrestleMania Editions cover. 2K Sports has revealed the final roster for WWE 2K24, and it's impressive. Over 204 superstars are playable, including 70 legends who are no longer on the main roster and 8 managers, but there's a couple notable absences from the playable roster. Former WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon and 7-time WWE Champion and 3-time WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. Lesnar had previously been removed from the cover of the 40 Years of WrestleMania version of the game. That version of the cover features several superstars from across WWE's history. Neither Lesnar nor McMahon's removal is all that surprising. Lesnar was previously removed from 2K's WWE Supercard mobile game after he was connected to allegations of sexual misconduct against McMahon. The reveal came after a former WWE employee filed a lawsuit against McMahon, accusing the WWE co-founder of, among other things, sexual assault and sex trafficking. Lesnar was also implicated in the report. In the wake of these allegations, Lesnar was reportedly removed from January's Men's Royal Rumble and hasn't been seen on WWE television since the lawsuit was filed. While McMahon and Lesnar will not be playable in WWE 2K24, that doesn't mean they are entirely absent from the game. A major selling point of WWE 2K24 is the showcase of the Immortals, which will allow players to recreate 21 of the biggest matches in WrestleMania history. Given his appearance on the 40 Years of WrestleMania edition, it would make sense that at least one of those matches was set to feature Lesnar. He famously ended The Undertaker's legendary winning streak at WrestleMania 30. It's not clear if any showcase of the Immortals matches featuring Lesnar has been removed from the final game, or if he will simply not be playable. WWE 2K24 will be released on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and 5, and PC on March 8th. Let me get some comments. Alamande goes, I'm still playing WCW vs. NWO Revenge and WWF No Mercy on Nintendo 64. Alamande, I'm jealous of you. Sting SR3 goes, I know it's just sentimentally, but those games were so much fun, especially if you had three other people playing with you. Lone Rose goes, funny, it took this to remove Vince. He has done a lot of harm the lives of wrestlers under his employee. This should have happened a while ago. And why are you going to cry for it? Goes, how much you want to bet? You can make both of them flawlessly and create a wrestler mode. Probably. So, what do you think of Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon possibly being removed from WWE 2K24?
It's because of the scandal going on right now. So they're trying to cover up to the best of their ability between the shows like Chris Jericho and Jim Norton. What's not Jim Norton? This is Jim Cornette. Because I've been listening to him for the last several days now. Jim Cornette's podcast and all. He's been explaining that Vince McMahon did some atrocious things with certain female wrestlers over the decades. And,
Yep.
Whether it's good or bad, or if it's live on TV, or if it's off TV,
Well, whatever he did on TV, off TV was much worse.
Definitely, yeah. I don't want of us to explain over this particular podcast with ours because it's too graphic to talk about it. That's how bad Jim Cornette was explaining about the matter. It was too good to be true, he said. So it involves something with with those type of fetishes people are into. So it's that graphic. So that's how bad I want to talk about in that detail. So
Right. Well, I told you what he did to Ashley Mazzaro when she turned Vince McMahon down.
what happened to her?
Remember, Vince McMahon called her to come to his room, so she asked Kevin Dunn what she should do. Kevin Dunn said, "Tell Vince you're sick." So she used that excuse, and then Vince wrote her a promo that made Ashley look like a fool.
Okay.
And she took it to Michael Hayes, who was the lead promo writer at the time. Michael Hayes read it, and he's like, "You're not saying this. Who gave you this?" Ashley Mazzaro goes, "Vince McMahon told me to say that." And Michael Hayes goes, "Well, that's business, kid."
Yep. If it's made the head honcho of it all,
Yeah.
Hey,
So, but he did that, and he gave Ashley Mazzaro that promo just because Ashley Mazzaro wouldn't sleep with him. So,
right.
and there are other women who either did sleep with him because they knew they had to, or there's a story from Rita Chatterton who claims that she was a female referee in the '80s that claims that when she turned down Vince McMahon's advances, that her career she ended up being gone like a month afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, and the only thing I want to say, I wrote a blog post about this earlier. It's gonna suck for fans because keep in mind, Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 19. They could have added that now. They didn't. They couldn't have added it in when WWE 2K14 came out in 2013. Kurt Angle was still with Impact Wrestling at the time, so they couldn't put that match in there. They could have added that now. That would have been a great match to play. Unfortunately, it looks like that's not going to be the case. If you wanted to replay Lesnar and Goldberg from WrestleMania 20, They did put that in WWE 2K14. So I mean, you could have done so. Like I said, I think it's just a missed opportunity. But you know what? I think Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar are going to be getting the Chris Benoit treatment at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, regardless of what Vince McMahon turned down many positions in his own company, from chairman to board member to executive producer, whatever these cases Vince took part of all these decades. He's going to get the hot seat because he's the center of it all for the last 25 to 30 years. From Sable back in the 1990s, to Trish Stratus in the 2000s, Stacey Keebler. Even though it was on TV, obviously, but still, it was like it was acceptable to see Stacey Keebler dance like a stripper in front of Vince McMahon, in front of everyone on TV at the time.
Well, she did that on Raw too when Eric Bischoff brought her to Raw the first night.
Oh yeah, it was
on the announce table, I think.
Yeah, like try to do that in today's world. It's gonna look like fucking as the SJW's gonna be insane about it. They're gonna go crazy seeing that shit on TV.
It'd be funny to see their reactions.
Yeah, I'm like, goddamn. I wish I could go back in time and see that in real time too. With those, I think I recorded some of these events. The Stacey Keebler dancing on the table with Vince McMahon being his secretary and all. It was fucked up. I was like 15 seeing this shit. I was like, did I have this on TV? Goddamn.
I remember I like that segment that you were talking about when Vince McMahon was interviewing for a personal assistant, and some guy came out, and the guy sat down and then crossed his legs, and Vince McMahon jumps out of his chair. Get out! Get the hell out of my way!
Yeah. Save for seconds.
and Michael Cole goes, that guy didn't get a chance. And Taz goes, I'm surprised he lasted that long. And then Vince McMahon goes, will someone please send out a more qualified candidate?
Then they sent out this chick out of nowhere, and that Stacey Keebler she was all
some blonde chick that she looked somewhat attractive.
Yeah, everyone's like hubba to that lady.
No, she wasn't that attractive. She was definitely the best of the three that came out before Stacey Keebler did.
Yeah. Oh man! If we try to share this a clip of it live on our podcast, if we can on video, people look at us as perverts and misogynists and everything else in between. I'm like, no, that's how it was 20 years ago, my friends. The wrestling industry, or at least the culture at the time, Yeah.
Anyway, we might still be called misogynist and transphobic, but you ready to get to the next story or the last story for tonight?
Yeah, let's just try to gender bend some people, right?
Yeah. New report suggests the games industry is failing LGBTQ players. Advocacy group GLAAD or GLAAD has won the numbers, and they're not great. Meanwhile, they show a picture of Life is Strange True Colors when Alex and Stephanie were kissing. If you chose that path, I've known that representation in games mattered since that day in 1987 when I finished Metroid and discovered that. Okay, this is by the way, who wrote this? This is by Carolyn Petit. These are her words. I've known that representation in games mattered since that day in 1987 when I finished Metroid and discovered that intergalactic bounty hunter Samus Aran was the rarest of things for the time, a cool female video game protagonist. I love playing as Mario or Link or any intrepid hero, but I was particularly thrilled to see a game say that women can be heroes too. Now with games a more important cultural force than ever, the influential media advocacy organization GLAAD has released its first ever in-depth report examining how games are doing in terms of LGBTQ representation. That was all me. The data strongly suggests that on one hand, games play an important role in the lives of many queer players, particularly queer youth, and the other that games are falling for short in terms of adequately representing and reaching these players. The report released today is packed with interesting and important statistics collected in partnership with the media data and analytics firm Nielsen, and you can see its entirety here. Among GLAAD's most striking findings is that 17% of active gamers identify as LGBTQ. That sounds a little high, to be honest. And yet, only a paltry 2% of games on major PC and console storefronts, PSN, Steam, and Nintendo eShop, and so on, are tagged as having LGBTQ content, suggesting that games which actually feature queer characters or storylines remain extremely rare. With big influential games like The Last of Us Part 2 and Apex Legends prominently featuring queer and trans characters, it's perhaps easy to feel like LGBTQ representation in games is more widespread than it actually is, when the reality may be that the industry is still falling well short of adequately reflecting the LGBTQ player base. Games are a refuge for many queer players. The data shows that many people who play games are queer, and that games often play a particularly important role in their lives. For many of them, in this period when hundreds of pieces of anti-LGBTQ legislation, please name one, are being introduced, games may be something of a safe haven. Yes, you're being treated like a third world class citizen, but video games make you escape that completely. Anyway, according to GLAAD, 55% of LGBTQ gamers who reside in states where such legislation has been proposed or passed say they feel more accepted in the gaming community than they do in general public areas where they live. 65% of players in these states say they depend on games to get through tough times, and a whopping 75% say that games allow them to express themselves in ways they don't feel comfortable doing so in the real world. I love how they go through the percentage, because it would look like such a low number if they gave the actual numbers.
Mm-hmm.
As a trans person who grew up with games and who has known many other queer and trans people for whom games have been a vital avenue of exploration and expression in a hostile world, I wasn't exactly surprised by this data, and yet seeing numbers asserting just how widespread such experience are is powerful and compelling. On a video call, I asked Blair Durkee, Associate Director of Gaming for GLAAD, about the perception that games are doing better on the LGBTQ representation front than they actually are. I think so much of our media is dominated by people who live in more progressive areas, she said, and they forget that there's a wide swath of the country that is still deep in this anti-LGBTQ culture. There's a reason for that. That was one of the things that we tried to highlight with our stats, looking at LGBTQ gamers who live in more restrictive states that have passed or proposed anti-LGBTQ legislation versus LGBTQ gamers in other areas. Even as many LGBTQ players find opportunities for community and self-expression in games, they also remain at higher risk for harassment in gaming spaces, with 54% saying they experience harassment when playing online, and 64% expressing discomfort about using voice chat in online games. Pause. I got it. Did someone say a mean word to you? Was it because they were competing against you, or because you were you fit in the alphabet mafia?
The alphabet mafia. Funny.
The capitalist argument for better LGBTQ representation in games. Oh my god. This woman. Of course, GLAAD isn't just collecting this data because it's interesting. The organization hopes to encourage developers and studios to do more to reflect and represent LGBTQ players. A common argument I've heard for why games haven't made more effort to incorporate gay and trans characters and storylines is that developers or publishers may be afraid of alienating or driving away non-LGBTQ players. However, the data suggests that game developers are leaving money on the table as LGBTQ players gravitate towards games in which they conceive themselves reflected. I'll be rebutting that at the end of this article. Meanwhile, 60% of non-LGBTQ players say that playing as an LGBT character would make no difference in their decision to buy a game. The resistance toward LGBTQ content in games is waning, says the report's introduction, as each successive generation of gamers is more diverse and more open to seeing LGBTQ representation in their games. When I asked Durkee what she hopes the report might help to accomplish, she said that it's about changing the way the industry really thinks about our community. She references comments made by Dragon Age lead writer David Gator, who said that there's a percentage of the gaming population, like queer and trans players, which is already playing despite it being essentially uninvited, and the industry sees us as gravy, a nice extra, but not a group worth catering to directly. All this work that we've been doing over the last several years, Durkee said, has been aimed at changing that mentality. Our community is a huge percentage of the overall gaming population, nearly 1 in 5. Yeah, right. And if you're ignoring that community, you're doing it to your own detriment. There's much more to gain by being inclusive and by expanding your audience than by catering to the same old demographic over and over. So I want to pull up comments, and then I'll be happy to rip this person apart, this person's arguments. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Okay, just let me get back to the comments. The top comments, anyway. Damn, how far down did I go? Wow. Okay, here we go. Santa goes, we found that games with LGBT characters or storylines account for less than 2% of all games, end quote. Having more games for LGBTQ inclusion is great, but looking at that 2% number of games, having the tag character storyline is a bit skewed. As I'm guessing, it's counting all games, not just games where it would make sense to include an LGBTQ content character storyline. Because that means Tetris, for example, would be driving down the numbers. Same with, for example, Among Us, ARK Survival, Ascended, Goat Simulator, and so on. If it's only counting games where it makes sense, then the numbers would look different. I suspect probably still extremely low, but not as bad as 2%. Lubes and MJ goes, so what you're saying is that context is key, and absent context, you're just spitting numbers out that have no meaning? Hippos Humors goes, to be fair, gay Tetris sounds pretty fun. Academican Prokur Zakrov goes, this was my thinking as well. What is required for that tag to be added? I would think that bar is high. Wonder needs to get this tag. And then I went checking on Steam and found out that most highly rated games with LGBTQ tag is Sonic X Shadow Generation. I'm out. I don't even know anymore. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You go first. You know more about this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Let me start with this. Representation in gaming of any group is nonsense. Cut it out. You know what game franchise is really popular? Wasn't there a franchise called Pokemon?
What about
How many gamers love Pokemon because they feel they can relate to Pikachu?
Pikachu?
You know, another franchise that I remember that's really successful, Kirby. How many people feel they can relate to a pink fluff ball?
Yeah. And he's a badass at the same time, too.
And then they brought up Tetris. What, we're just going to start throwing gay characters and queer characters in everywhere? No.
Yeah, gay blocky, square
Yeah,
mealy.
Yeah, I could just imagine. They probably want gay characters in Tetris. Why do people have to be in Tetris now? What next? Goat Simulator? We're gonna have to have a gay goat? How do you tell the difference between a straight goat and a gay goat?
Goat Simulator queers version.
I mean, yeah, you know, one of the people, I forget his name, but he said it. It should be based on context, you know. And before anyone tries to say I'm transphobic or lesbian phobic or whatever, you know, I played Life is Strange before the storm. I played Life is Strange True Colors all the way through. In Life is Strange Before the Storm, Chloe and that blonde chick, I forgot her name.
Yeah,
she was the DA's daughter. Do you remember?
I don't remember. I went up to chapter 1 so far.
Okay, well, of course. Anyway, they had a relationship, lovers relationship, and then in Life is Strange True Colors, when you play as Alex, you can either choose her to go with Stephanie or choose her to date your brother's friend. And I chose Stephanie because of reasons, not just because it would be cool to see. Um,
Oh yeah.
and the thing is, I enjoyed both those games, but this whole representation nonsense has got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just in video games. It's got to stop in movies. It's got to stop in TV shows. No one cares. You know what? I used to say, to each their own. Whatever you want to do in your bedroom, whoever you want to screw in your bedroom, as long as they're at the age of consent, it's fine.
Yeah, it's consent.
Leave it in the bedroom. No one wants to see. No one wants to go. No one wants to hear someone go, "I'm gay," and that's my identity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what? I can play that game. I'm straight. I'm a straight. I'm heterosexual. That's my identity. Now what victim mentality? Now what victim circumstances can I bring up of how I've been unfairly treated?
Hey, you can't give Stacy Keebler at the time. That's my
But I'm
dream.
serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm so. The reason that me and other people are so sick of this shit is because of this diversity, equity, inclusion crap that really should be dead and buried. You want to live your life? Pick up a controller, play a game that you think you would like because of the story or the gameplay or both, and play it and shut the hell up. I played many games where I wasn't represented in a way. Did that determine that did that um, hurt the experience I had? No.
Of course not. And if I can say this,
Like I said, I played
go on.
Pokemon. I played not to cut you off, but I wasn't done. I played Pokemon. I played Kirby. I played Life is Strange, which the three games in the first arc all had female leads. And I still had a fun time playing those games. Why do you think that was? Because of representation? Obviously not. Like I said, no one's playing Pokemon because they feel like they can relate to Pikachu. If they do, they need professional help. Doctor Games 101. What do
Yeah,
you want to say?
I just want to say too, like as a black person, a black gamer, if you want to call me like that. I mean, in today's world, there's not that many representation of black characters, but I'm not complaining about that. It's like they're back in the '90s as well too, with X-Men, fucking Pokemon. Like I didn't ask for all the include every single character to be black, whether it's that chick from a Pokemon Black and White version. I forgot her name already. They included her in for sex for like what else reasons the inclusive reasons I hear black and white TV shows whatever it's called it's Pokemon. So but other than that, no. I mean, there's characters like from DC Comics called Stag Shock, whatever, from the 2000s. That was it back then. I was glad that they had Stag Shock and stuff like that, and they didn't care about anything else. I mean, all because of the fact that people back then, and for the last 25, 30 years now, have from a different background altogether. The grouping of the developers. Now more people are being more lesbian focus or they're lesbians themselves in these gaming industries making games now. Now it's more inclusive than ever in gaming altogether. It's not a shitload of LGBT games out there, but there's plenty out there to choose from. Like, what's the game I played that got me 200 gamer score? It was called, it was a blind girl, Beyond Eyes. That's like LGBT friendly of sorts, or if you want to put it that way, the girl was like blind and handicapped stuff like that. You want to include that type of people into that gaming sphere of sorts. So okay, no big deal, right? So what do you want more of? If you want to have some inclusion in your games, make the game yourself and then include that stuff into your own little type of project. No, it's not forcing you to force onto others about of your beliefs and all. Make your own game, make your own content. That's how I look at it. I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm not
and
forcing DC and X Men and DC Marvel comics to make my characters black, or whatever the case may be. So
right. Yeah, I mean, they probably would love to make like Tony Hawk, Tanya Hawk, or something.
yeah,
Um, don't I shouldn't really give them any ideas.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but like I said, this representation crap is not. It's just that it's crap. No one like I said, no one played Pokemon. Um, no one plays Transformers. What? How many people could say they can relate to a Transformer?
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon, Kirby. I could go on and on.
Mario.
Eh, No, Mario's kind of just a white plumber. But,
Yeah, he wants to be
I
part of the
mean,
USSR and all that. Those rumors you hear that Mario was like a communist dictator, taking over Bowser's castle and shit like that. It was a big rumor back in the '90s about the matter. So
yeah, but I mean, like, okay, another one, Donkey Kong Country. How many people feel they can relate to an ape?
and they make fun of it for over the decades too. Oh, that's inclusion, Doctor Games. See, Donkey Kong is black, all that shit I hear. I mean, I'm not fucking destroyed by it or fucking offended by it at all times, but it's like, whatever. Okay, it was a
Yeah,
joke pretty much.
so I mean, anyway, that's just what I had to say. This representation bullshit is nonsense. Cut out the nonsense. And you know what? If the game calls for an LGBT, I'm just going to say it, Alphabet Mafia character to be included, and it makes sense for that kind of character to be included, then include it. Because, like I said, I enjoyed Life is Strange Before the Storm, Life is Strange True Colors. How did I enjoy those games if I'm a guy and the lead in those games were all female
Mm-hmm.
with lesbian tendencies, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Because I don't care about representation. I cared about the story that was told, and it was a good story. I enjoyed going through the story.
Plus, I hear it was similar to the TV shows like Dawson's Creek in the '90s and all. So it's kind of like we expect that over the decades of our formatted of preferences of what we watch or play in our video games or TV shows. So it's kind of like it's part of the culture no matter what. So if
Yeah,
you
but
can mix in that culture somewhat in the matter, then more power to you.
and another thing, just in the U.S., there's like 330 million people. How many people of that 330 million identify with the Alphabet Army?
2% at most 5%.
Yeah. Sorry, you're not the majority. We're not going to make games just to stroke your ego. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm trying to think of other games. Um,
The Harry Potter game was a big thing with the trans community back then, back in early last year. They came out on the
yeah,
yeah
that's Hogwarts Legacy, which actually ended up selling real well.
yeah J.K. Rowling, all because J.K. Rowling was against transgenderism or
She
doesn't
wasn't
like
even
it.
against it. She just said she wasn't gonna cater to them.
Of course, yeah, something similar like that. Like it was not even that hard on the transgender community. She just it wasn't involved like that. She's a woman trying to make some money with her Harry Potter books. That's all.
Yeah, you know what? I can't play Rayman Legends anymore because I can't relate to Rayman.
Yeah, I want to be the floaty head guy, Rayman. Yeah. Yeah, and I pop like a balloon when I stick my ass on those spikes in the way. Yeah,
That's how ridiculous that this representation gets. I mean,
yeah.
so like I said, to any game developer out there, if you want to include the character, just make sure it fits the story and it makes sense. Then everyone will be fine with it. You're not really missing money. You're not really leaving money on the table because if it's a great game, then someone who does identify as one of those players will play it anyway. But don't go out of your way just to cater to these people because it's never enough.
hmm I mean, if I can see this though, because generalize if I can to some extent, there's been a lot of things happen in history as a country, as United States people in our past over the last 200 years, obviously. But in the last 50 years now, it got much better with equality and rights for everyone, and you can do what the fuck you want to do, so you don't harm others in the process. So that's it. Hey, we're in the most calm period in our era of any part of the United States history. You do what you want to do. You can sleep when you want to sleep. You work as much as you want to. You go to these places to learn our culture and history of the United States, whether it's about the Lewis and Clark expedition or about the presidents of the United States. You name it. You know, like, but don't force your own beliefs to develop within you onto others and thinking that it's going to happen like that overnight. You gotta like be creative and also with understanding other people's boundaries as well too. So that's what's
Yeah,
going on. So
and another thing, if they were really like, if game developers were really leaving so much money on the table, why have companies that bent the knee, that pandered to these people, lost money?
oh yeah,
The Last of Us 2 didn't do so well because it bent the knee to these maniacs.
yeah, that was a big deal back 3 years ago when it came out. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, so don't tell them. So um, so yeah, Karen Platin, anyone who thinks like her, really need a reality check. And another thing about harassment um, in online gaming. Do you know how toxic Call of Duty lobbies were on the Xbox 360 like 10 years ago?
At most 12.
You think whatever you encounter, I bet you whatever you encounter does is a minute fraction of what when compared to what happened in those Xbox 360 lobbies for Call of Duty 10, 15 years ago. And it wasn't because they were trans. It wasn't because they were some other identity. It's because they were playing the game and they decided to trash talk.
And most of the time,
So,
it was just about niggers and Jews and Nazis. That's about
so anyway, yeah. That's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. This is going to be an interesting clip to upload to YouTube.
I'm gonna put this in that clip too.
Well, the thing is, I actually started doing something new. I'm taking Review Tech USA's old lead or old strategy. Remember when he used to upload like news clips, but he put like gameplay over it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. Like when I did the Spec Ops The Line being delisted from marketplaces, I took someone's gameplay of Spec Ops The Line. I gave him credit in the video, and when we covered that news clip, I just put muted Spec Ops The Line gameplay over it, and that's what I'm going to do with most clips.
Okay, not a problem.
So, like, also that when we talked about Leon Kennedy being able to play as in Tekken 8 due to the character customization,
Yeah.
I put over our audio is a silent video of Tekken 8 gameplay of people who played as Leon Kennedy.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do for most clips. There is if you want to see these clips, the about link is in my YouTube channel. So I'm probably going to get someone playing gameplay of Life is Strange for this last segment that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Either True Colors or Before the Storm, whichever one I could find. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. This was episode 92 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. Episode 93 will be on March 9th, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. Dr. Games 101, do you have any plans for tomorrow as far as online content goes?
Yeah, a quick update about from my last podcast episode. I did say I was doing some gameplay of Men in Black, the PS2 game and all. As other games too, I mentioned I want to play. Unfortunately, it didn't happen necessarily because of my wiring. My equipment is all aged severely. Like I bought new HDMI cables and all to record everything, but the capture card is so like old and outdated. It's like the software, everything. It's like it's screwed up. My computer's not screwed up. It's just that it's so sensitive to certain movements of certain things with my systems and all. So I have to get a brand new capture card most likely in the next couple of months or so, and take it from there. But in the meantime, I do try to make some gameplay videos whenever I can at random. So hopefully everything will be fine for the next couple of months. In the meantime.
Okay. Yeah, so tomorrow I'll probably playing Ghost. It might be a Let's Play, so it might not be on Twitch. I might play Ghost Squad on the Wii, or I might play Total Extreme Wrestling 2020. I definitely plan to do. I did upload a video of me playing Wayman Legends last night. Um, so I definitely plan to upload something. I don't know if it'll be a Twitch stream or not. I'll decide when I sit down to record.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope so. I hope you check out my YouTube channel. Check out my website, my jimmys-deals.com. I'll spell it JIMMYS-DEALS.com. You can check out my online store. I also talked about this, the last two topics of tonight I talked about in the blog earlier this week. Yeah, and hopefully I'll see you for subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me here if you enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll see you next time I'm on Twitch or YouTube. Until then, good night, everyone.
All right, guys.